Hey, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast, presented by DJ City and Beat Source. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Rest in peace to DJ Never Forever. That's our brother. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We have Brooklyn's finest here in the building. We have DJ Goldfinger.
Yo.
And we have a special guest. This is like, I grew up listening to this man, coming home from school every day at 3:30, rushing home to see this man, and it was like he was our eyes and ears into a world that, probably, that we would have never seen. And he was documenting history as we know it. And he's a DJ, he's a VJ, he's a director, a TV producer, he's a network executive, he's a club promoter, educator, historian.
Yeah.
He's not only a pioneer and trailblazer who championed hip-hop and R&B and all music. He's a pioneer in TV and film, and he's like a very important and vital piece of American culture. And I'm really honored to have him here. We have Uncle Ralph, the legendary Ralph McDaniels.
Yeah.
What's up?
Creator of Video Music Box in the building.
Yeah.
Word up.
Wow. Just hearing that voice.
Well, you know what, too? I think with all of those things, I try to be, a guy who busts some knowledge on you and opens your mind to things that you might not have seen.
Yes.
We have the ability to travel, all of us here, but not everybody has that ability. And so when we show them places where we go, it's like eye-opening for some people. You could get off the block and do something else, and or leave the United States and do something else. So that's what this is. My journey has been. That's what I've learned over the years.
Yeah, I think it's incredible that you were a DJ first, and it started with the music, your love of music, and the more I deep dive into your history, and there's an amazing documentary on Video Music Box that was on Showtime.
Yes.
I urge everyone to watch this documentary, because if you ever want to really learn about hip hop and history of hip hop, and especially in New York where it all kind of started and evolved, this is an important piece of history for hip hop.
Thank you.
And I was just telling Goldfinger, I feel so spoiled that we were just spoiled. We just went home and we rushed home from school and we watched Video Music Box, and it was for free, channel 31.
Yep.
Sometimes it was clearer than other days.
Right. Exactly. According to how the clouds was outside.
Yeah. And I just I will never forget. It was your birthday party, and you had Biggie and Jay-Z performing, and you were in this suit. And I've never seen
black tie.
I never thought a motherfucker would dress up in a black tie for his birthday.
But everybody did though.
Yeah, and but I never saw the clubs. I've never seen the clubs. I was so young.
We had to get dressed up. It was time, First of all, the ladies like to get dressed up. See, there's two parts of hip hop, right?
Yeah.
There's the B-boys and the B-girls, right? Mm-hmm. Then there's Brooklyn and the Bronx, and we go to things where we have to get dressed up every once in a while. I used to see Kool Keith at the after work party, and he had on a tie and a shirt, and I would be like, Kool Keith from Ultramagnetic MC, and he's like, "Yo, bro, we trying to get some women tonight, man." That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So every once before Jay-Z said, change clothes. Before that, way before that, Jay-Z just knew that was happening already. That was, we would do that. And so when we wanted to have something that was real special, like that particular night, my birthday, and that spot was kind of a dope spot, we said, let's get dressed up. And Big was with it, and Jay was with it too, so it was one of those nights. Yeah.
But it was mind-blowing for me to see two of these legends, they not even legends at that time. They were just the hottest rappers at that time performing together.
Well, Big was definitely hot.
Yeah.
Big was definitely hot. That's right after the first album, and Jay was on his way. If you from Brooklyn, you knew Jay was on his way.
Yeah.
This guy's good.
What's good, everyone? This is Neek from Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. Whether you're just discovering the R.O.A.D podcast or a day one listener, if you've been loving the content or want more, here's your chance to support the pod. Get closer to the action and unlock exclusive content by joining our Patreon. This is for loyal listeners who want early access to new episodes 3 or 4 weeks ahead, your name in the credits of every video episode, and access to our exclusive R.O.A.D edit pack. packs. Now for the hardcore supporters, we've got our Tier 2 Roadie for Life subscription for just $10 a month. This is an all-in package. You'll get everything from Tier 1 plus a monthly bonus episode, early access to our Road 10 and Road Talk interviews, behind-the-scenes content, our In the Crate series, along with exclusive unreleased content. This is your chance to support the podcast and get more of what you love. Join the family today at patreon.com/roadpodcast. Check the link in our descriptions. We appreciate you. Let's keep this journey going.
But how was your relationship with Biggie where you could just say like, yo, you want to perform at my birthday, come through?
It was, I went to Puff because by that time, you used to see Big a lot, but now he's kind of moving around. He's got to go other places other than New York.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, Puff, I really need, Big to perform. And he was like, "Oh, Playboy, let me say."
Hit
me with the Playboy, right? And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Look." He said, "Well," I said, "All right, can he host it?" And my man Sam, who's he was down with.
Is this Crazy Sam?
No.
Other Sam.
So my man Sam, he's a cop. He's in my documentary too, and he's one of my best friends for years. He's like, "Yo, we take care of him. He's gonna be good. He'll be fine."
Is he security? No,
he's security, but he
just was good.
He's he's the promoter too. Yeah. So
okay.
So I can say that now. It's after the fact. So he said, "I'll take care of him." So Big came. I don't even think Diddy was there that night. Yeah, no, Diddy wasn't there. And Big came and just hung out and like, "What y'all want me to do?" And I was like, "Okay." And he would get up and host it. Like you just see the part when he performs most of the time when
right.
the clip.
It's that classic Junior Mafia get money.
Right.
And when the music ain't even playing, he's like, crowd is saying, "Get money."
Big,
what?
Go Big.
What?
DJ Ace.
Right. Yeah.
DJ Ace, the crowd motivator, is on the set. We already told him as soon as Big gets up there, you play that record because it was hot.
The hottest record.
Hottest record. Yeah. And he's not going to stop. He's not going to be able to stop because the crowd is going to do what they're going to do. And as soon as he came up there, and that's why he's going, "Oh, I guess I'm supposed to rhyme now." We set him up. We set Big up. And then Jay is like, "Yeah, go ahead," because Jay is hype. That it just became a magical moment. That we planned out. And hope that it would work.
I learned a lot in that 2-3 minute video. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do. You have your own bottle of champagne. Right. Ain't nobody sipping from glasses. Like, Jay had a bottle, Big had a bottle, you had a bottle. I was just like, oh wow.
Dudes had big bottles like the
Bow Wow bottle.
Yeah. I was like this, like, how much did that cost?
But this is maybe like, would you say that was the pinnacle of Video Music Box? It was like nearing there?
I don't know. I've had so many moments along the way.
Yeah.
For some, it might have been, because of who Big and Jay became.
Right.
But just, my dealings with Nas.
Yes.
Tribe, there's a clip out there with Tribe, they're getting ready to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? And there's a clip of them at the Union Square Ballroom. I don't know if you remember. You remember that? Right. Brooklyn gave a lot of parties in there too. Big up to DJ Lance and a couple other cats.
Rest in peace, Lance.
It wasn't a spot that you had to really know it. It wasn't the Club Union Square that people like Red Alert made legendary.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was a place called the Union Square Ballroom, and you could rent it out.
Mark Ballroom.
Right.
Yeah.
And and you could get it, and you could get your liquor. You could do your own thing, sell your own liquor and everything. And we had Tribe Called Quest, Biz Markie, Cool G Rap,
wow,
Dougie Fresh.
Was this like one of the first early on Video Music Box events though, when you started promoting your own events?
That was an early event.
Right.
Yeah, that was an early event because that's late 80s. We were like, yeah, we got to start doing our own thing. Because I was doing things for other promoters. Like I was hosting it and the place was packed.
Right.
And I didn't realize that the people came for me. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I only got like $200.
Okay, wait. I want to. So there's a lot of younger viewers that don't, who are not aware of Video Music Box and Ralph McDaniels.
Sure.
So Video Music Box was the first like music video television show on TV that was playing black artists and black music like before MTV, MTV was not even fucking with any black artists except maybe Michael Jackson at the time.
Right, that's correct.
But you were, as a DJ, because of your background in DJing, which I want to get into, you were playing everything. You were playing some white music. You were playing Lisa Stansfield. You would play Hall & Oates.
Yes.
But then you were also, I remember seeing, you were playing everything.
Yeah.
And then,
Talking Heads.
and then I probably learned about like Two Live Crew, Miami Bass,
Yeah.
and then also like dance hall, like
Definitely.
Super Cat and Shabba Ranks,
Definitely.
Patra. I was learning all of these things at the same time.
Fat Joe said he was playing Jamaican music and we didn't even know who Jamaicans were. But I grew up in Brooklyn, so I know who Jamaicans are.
And you're like
my family's from Trinidad. Yeah. So I'm like, I know all of this music. As soon as you walk out the house, I lived in Flatbush when I started doing video music and heavy Caribbean community. All types of food, all types of dress, like the old Shabba big shiny outfits, custom made outfits you would get made from a tailor, and I would be at those parties, so I covered that because that's what was going on in the community.
Right. So on top of these music videos, Ralph McDaniels and at the Lionel, right, your partner at the time, Vid Kid would host. You guys would host together.
Yep.
But then there was this live documentation of like events and nightlife that you gave people access to, and you started like this rollout, the shout outs that they'd be in the crowd, and all these women and men in the crowd would be giving shout outs, and it was like it was just so raw. You know what I'm saying? It was such a
Before that, to tell you the absolute truth, like my first introduction with Ralph was being on the Fresh Fest tour.
Right.
Like as a shorty, I'm looking at Houdini from my building go on tour with Run DMC, and you're seeing the backstage, you're seeing the crowd, you're seeing who's in there, and you're getting a visualization of who's actually messing with this hip hop stuff that you love. So that was like really my first really introduction to the culture of outside of New York, outside of from the block. You know what I mean? Who was actually checking for hip hop.
Right. Fresh Fest was the first time you saw a rap concert on TV. First time. Yeah. You never saw that.
That was 84, right?
85. Fresh Fest 85. That was the second one. The first one was 84, but there may be some documentation of it, but it wasn't on TV for years. If it popped up now.
How did you get access?
Russell Simmons. I grew up when I moved to Queens. I became friends with Russell Simmons, who was a promoter. He was a club promoter, and Rush Productions. And he would put stickers in the train. It would just say Rush, and I'd be like, "Wow, Russell's here." Like I go places and I'd be like, "This is where Russell was at." And he was like, "Yo, Ralphie," he would give me promo records. I never saw a promo record, a white label. All the records I had, I bought in the store. He came and it was nothing, and it was written on there, Curtis Blow. And I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "This is Christmas rapping." And I was like, "Okay." And you put it on, and it's Christmas rapping. It wasn't even commercially out yet. And I was like, and he was managing Curtis Blow. And then the breaks, same thing, white label.
Wow.
So I'm playing it, and people were like, "What is that?" He didn't have a label on it. How did you get this record? I said, "Russell gave it to me." So Russell had this thing where he was a promoter. And so Russell came and said, "Look, man, we're going to do parties and this and that." Russell's notorious, he's not going to pay you. You're not going to get paid. You're going to get jerked. You're going to get jerked back then. And Russell and his partner at the time, Puppet, would be like, "Okay, we're going to take care of you." And I'd be like, "Right."
Let's give you another copy.
I know I'm going to get jerked, and I don't want to jeopardize the fact that I'm getting the white label.
Right.
So I'm being nice, But, we went along with the plan, and then, eventually he became, a record company guy, and then he said he was doing tours. And so when Fresh Fest came around, I said, "Yo, I want to cover it." And he was like, "Yeah, call the stage manager or the road manager, Leo Cohen."
Now, did Video Music Box exist? Was it out at the time?
Yeah. We started in 1983.
In 83.
So we were already doing events, but in the first year, we didn't really do any outside events. Like we didn't do any, like the parties, like you talked about earlier.
Right.
We didn't do
You
that.
were just focusing on music videos.
Right, or an interview with somebody. You know, and David Byrne is coming. Yeah, let's interview him. And we do an interview in our studio, but we never went outside of our studio.
Right.
So after the first year and a half, we were like, we got to go outside, you know, because I was going to these events. And the other part of the reason why we did that was because everybody didn't have a music video. So hip hop in the beginning, everybody didn't have a music video because hip hop wasn't at that point where it was marketable yet.
Yeah, but like not even every artist had a music video. It was like kind of like an afterthought.
Right.
It was a new thing.
It was a new thing.
Yeah.
MTV had just come out,
Right.
and it was like, you
Right.
know, yeah, it was just like new
This?
concept.
Yeah, even Russell, you know, when I said I want to tape the concert, he was like, yeah, no problem. He didn't even think like this has no value. It means nothing because if he can get $1 out of it, he will. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then so Leo Cohen said, look, man, I got to the backstage. Russell told me to come. Leo said, look, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? I got a whole crew with me. Like, you know, I brought like extra people because I know he's doing this is going to be
So
special.
how many people did you bring? And did you own these cameras, or was it part of what is it, WNYC, which is Channel 31, right?
Yes. So NYC TV would give me the cameras and say, you could take them on the weekend and you could do whatever you want to do.
So you had to sign off.
Right. Well, you didn't even have to sign off. It was just like here, because I worked in engineering.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was a producer first. I was an engineer first. So that's why I knew the equipment. It was like not like some guy just taking the camera out and walking around. Like he knows how to actually work that camera.
Right.
And so I had some other guys that wanted to learn how to do it. Oh, really? They wanted to be into hip hop. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and some cool white dudes, and they were like, "You do hip hop stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, every weekend, every day." And they were like, "We down to do that?" And I was like, "All right," because up to that point they were shooting PBS type stuff. It was corny. It was. I mean, it wasn't corny. It was just not exciting.
Right.
And so they were like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I took them out. We went out. They were super excited to be at a concert. You know, it didn't matter who was performing, to be honest with you. They were at a concert.
Right.
You know.
And so you're in your head, you're thinking, I need 2 cameras, I need 3 cameras.
No, well, 2.
2.
That's all they had. So, so we had the 2, and we went there, and Leo said, Nassau Coliseum is charging me $20,000 if you guys shoot. So I was like, oh, all right. And he says, but I think I can work it out. So you guys just stay here. So as soon as he walked away, I told the guys, look, as soon as you guys get an opportunity, just go in and go into the crowd part. Don't go backstage. Go into where the crowd is at. And then I'll work on getting y'all backstage. Because nobody's going to know. They're going to see the camera and they're just going to be like,
He's
what is
supposed to be
this?
here. Right.
It's supposed to be there.
Right.
You didn't put any black tape on the red on the red recording.
You know? And so
We used to do that at shows too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the beginning of Fresh Fest, if you've ever seen the broadcast of it, it's all in the crowd. And we're talking to people in the crowd.
Wow.
And, you know, and the people that I knew, you know, like I see B-boys, I see B-girls there, I see people from the Disco Fever, you know, all these people who were there they were part of hip-hop. So that's what the beginning of it looks like. And then eventually I started going backstage. I just was like, fuck, we're going backstage. And I got, you know, Run DMC coming in. There's a great shot of Run DMC and Grandmaster Caz. It's Caz. I don't know if the rest of Cold Crush Brothers were there. To me, that was the changing of that generation because Caz has on, you know, like a Rick James type outfit,
Right.
which is what hip-hop artists look like, you know, Furious 5.
With the tassels.
And
the boots.
And Run DMC has on, you know, like
leather.
a Champion
Yeah.
sweatshirt and some Lees
And
and
Adidas.
Adidas. And they're both meeting, and I'm like, that's it right there. That's the changing of the look right there in 1985. And that's what that concert was. You know, Run DMC was the headliners. But, you know, Flash and the Furious 5 was very important to that show, and Houdini was very important to that show. And LL had like 2 records out, and he opened up, and the Fat Boys. And, you know, the Fat Boys were commercial. You know, like they were like really like, they had, well, I don't know if the movies were out yet, but they were about to be. They were really a commercial group, and they were from Brooklyn, you know, and so that was exciting to see them as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that changed everything. That's when you realize, like, yo, we could actually be we could do this shit in the clubs. We could be in the nightclubs, and we could just be all in that shit.
Everybody saw that show because I immediately went home and edited it. I think I edited it in like a day, and I was ready to air it because we came on every day. So I was like
6 days a week. I don't know how you guys did that. It's
so
crazy.
That concert was either on a Saturday or a Sunday. By Monday, I had the show cut. I already had the show edited.
Yeah, I memorized that show. The press conference, the freestyles, and all that stuff. And then Jermaine DeFreeze in the back.
Right.
I was like, show my mom. I was like, see, he's young, he's there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
For real.
And that was, so we got it on as soon as I could because I didn't know if there were other camera crews there.
Right.
It's not like today where everybody's got a phone. Mm-hmm. So, you can't beat anybody.
And you a DJ, you want the exclusive.
I want the exclusive. I'm like, let's go. We're going to get this on right now. I don't know who else was there. There was another camera crew there. I've never seen that footage, but let's get it on. So by Wednesday, we're going to air Fresh Fest. It's like, it just was Saturday. He's got it on TV already. The networks would take months.
Yeah. You're the internet. You were the first internet.
I'm airing it now.
Shit.
And so we got it on, and the feedback over the years that I've gotten from that, from people like, Fab Five Freddy. Now, Freddy's a part of the scene. Mm-hmm. He's down, and he's like, yo, when I saw that blew my mind. I realized how big our thing was. He said, I knew that we were doing something that was big.
So that was like maybe the pivotal moment for video music box.
Visually.
Yeah.
Visually for hip hop.
Yeah.
Right.
Besides the movies and everything like that, that was actually, you could have your Wild Styles, you could have your other movies, but this was actually it happening in real time.
The thing about hip hop, it was pockets. There was downtown, there was Brooklyn, East New York, there was Queens, Jersey City, Uptown, of course. And so there was pockets of it, but it's not everybody's all in yet. It's still kind of an underground thing, and so you had to, once you become part of this. There's no stopping it. You 100% down. And even people that from my age group, I'm a little bit older than hip hop, be like, you really into this hip hop thing? Like you like this kind of a young thing? And I'm like, nah, it has something to say. It's coming from. It's not what we grew. It's not the Whispers. I love the Whispers. It's not Shalimar. I love Shalimar. This is something different right here.
What do you consider yourself? You consider yourself like a hip hop head or like an R&B head?
I think I'm just a lover of all music.
Lover of all music.
Yeah, because some days I don't want to listen to hip hop at all. I'm like, no, I'm good. I want to hear, I listen to rhythm and soul today. Certain days on the weekend, and so I was like, or I listen to, a Goldfinger mix. I want to hear something that is taking me somewhere else sometimes, because, I'm really, I think I'm more hardcore, in the sounds, 90s. Like, I love early 90s, and I love hardcore music. Like, last night I was DJing, I playing, A Broken Language, Smooth the Hustler, Trigger Again, like one of my favorite records of all time. I don't care what. When we play this, heads are like, it's just an amazing record. And then play, Annie Up behind that, and then it would just start a fight. It's good.
The Brooklyn way.
Are you DJing more? Or have you always kind of DJ'd off and on?
I do it, as more of a curation kind of thing, not like a party thing, which is a big difference. There are DJs that are good at curating.
And you're on vinyl, or you're on?
I play vinyl. I play 45s. I've been since the. Little bit before the pandemic, I started really getting into 45s. I had 45s already that I had bought because I just bought it out of the necessity of I don't have enough money to buy another 12-inch, but I can buy the 45. I'll get one 12-inch and one 45. I'm good. So now I buy it, just to kind of curate it, and I play on Queens Public Library's Instagram page, IG Live, every Saturday at 1 o'clock. So Queens Public Library, we bring that in the picture. 5 years ago, I became the hip-hop coordinator there. And what that means is I do hip-hop programs through our 65 different libraries.
Wow.
And that
what does that entail? Yeah.
Okay, so that could be, first of all, let me just give you a picture of what Queens looks like. So Queens is the most diverse county in the United States. There's so many different dialects, so many different cultures, so many different folks from different places because there's 2 airports right here, LaGuardia and Kennedy, and some people just never leave Queens.
Right.
And so you got people from all over.
You can literally go to certain parts of Queens and
Still be in Queens.
but no one will speak English.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Like they'll just be speaking Tagalog,
Right.
or Bangladesh or something.
Right.
And yeah.
Yes. So you have to, as when I do my job, I have to be mindful of that. Like when I'm going into Jackson Heights or Corona, that it's South American. There's a lot of Peruvians, a lot of Colombians. It's not Mexican necessarily all the time. Right. It's not Puerto Rican. It's not Dominican, but it's South American.
Right.
And so I'm mindful of that. So I'm bringing artists, I'm bringing presenters that will be able to communicate to that community, but do it in a hip hop way. I'm not doing reggaeton.
Right.
I'm doing hip hop.
Wow.
With artists that sometimes come from South America or from Peru or from Colombia that rap. They do hip hop. They're not doing anything else. They're doing rap. They're doing boom bap. That's what they're doing.
That's a lot of research.
That's amazing.
But there are many artists out there that just want to do hip hop. They don't want to do, and they don't speak English. Well, they speak English. They're bilingual, but they just want to do hip hop music.
So you're curating these programs, or like what is it like?
So it could be as easy as a DJ 101 class.
Okay.
Hip hop DJ 101. The equipment that you need, how to get your laptop lined up with the music that you need. If you're playing vinyl, okay, whatever you got to do with
you're
that.
putting this curriculum together.
Yes, yeah. And people come, and I'll be honest with you, the younger people, because we do a lot with younger people, the women are very good at this. The young ladies, they're because they listen. Kids, when we're younger, we're not listening. We're joking around. We're being idiots, right? The guys. The women are not like that. Young girls, they listen. You tell them, hit this button and do this, and then this will happen. And they do that. Move your hand back like this, catch that beat, that back beat, and then boom, let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, they let it go. The kids are like, the guys, they're bugging out.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's not fun. We're trying to get you some money. You could maybe make some money out of this. And that's why I believe there's so many women DJs that are successful.
Yeah, it's definitely been an upsurge in that.
Yeah, because they listen. We do it in the hood. It used to be out of necessity. Like I want to be, the guy on the block, to get girls. That's why, I had this conversation with Crazy Legs one time. I said, hip hop started. Why did we do this? Why did we put so much time and energy? And we didn't get paid.
Yeah,
because we wanted to be popular with the girls. And that was it. That was it.
Is that why? That's why you want to become a DJ?
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I was somebody, even though I played sports before that, and that was kind of like, you kind of popular. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of died out when I got to college because I just stopped playing football. And then by the time I got to early 20s, I was like, we gotta do something else. I mean, I was already DJing, but I didn't see to the extent until I saw other DJs that were big DJs.
Who was popping at the time?
Wow. So I always like to start off, and it's probably before that time when I was coming out, was Grandmaster Flowers. And not a lot of people know or have seen Grandmaster Flowers DJ. I saw him DJ at Reese Park, and when, I don't know, maybe I was one of those summers I came back to Brooklyn after moving to Queens, and my uncle said we're going to this beach, and they got a basketball tournament going on out there, and we hung out at Reese Park. And they were professionals. It was like a pro-am league. So Walt Clyde Frazier was playing. Earl Monroe was playing. These are like legends now, but they were playing in the NBA at the time. And then they had two DJs set up, like one at one end of the basketball court and the other one at the other end. And one was Grandmaster Flowers. And he had all these crates out there, and he had his records, and he had all this equipment, and the equipment was mind-blowing. Like I was like, phase linear amps, all these different amps that, I never saw before. I never knew, how much does this guy make that he has even this much equipment? Like, what does he do for a living? I'm thinking like this at this age.
Yeah.
Like, because I want it. but I know I can't afford it. And I looked at it and I was like this. And then he goes back and forth and he plays Love Is the Message, MFSB. And I don't know Love Is the Message yet, like how I know it now. And he plays it and the place starts going crazy. People are hustling, people are freaking, you know, Brooklyn was the freak, you know, and they're dancing and everybody's yelling and I'm like, I want to do that.
Shout out Flowers, Farragut Projects.
Joe, bro, one record. And then I noticed something about Flowers that he played a lot of records that had heavy bass lines. And so I was stuck on that too. So, you know, we got our own thing by CJ and Company.
Right.
Amazing record, disco record. But we had 2 copies of it when it came out, 77 and now later down the line, you know, I'm in high school and like, get it, doom, doom, doom. And that to me was what Brooklyn sounded like. Brooklyn hip hop sounded like that, where the Bronx was more like congas and things like that and, you know, and breaks.
Right.
But to me, I always, this is how I would judge a party was popping or not. I would stand outside and listen to the building, how it was rocking. And I'm like, yeah, he's playing some joints in there. And they got a good sound system in there. So it sounds like it's popping. Let's go inside. The bass line, I would judge it on.
Hey, yo, what's good? This is the R.O.A.D podcast, Reflections of a DJ. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Now, I want to explain what the Sound Collective is. I got my man Lefty from the Sound Collective here. Lefty, thank you for having us and hosting this beautiful studio for us. Exactly what is the Sound Collective here in New York?
Modern, state-of-the-art facility with tons of production gear. And one side of it is you can be a member and you can come here and pay monthly to use the rooms and the gear and sign out time and our space. We have a state-of-the-art studio. We have all these production stations, DJ stations, instrument practicing rooms and such like that.
And you also like teach. You have like classes and sessions, right?
We have intensive programs, short-term programs that people can come and take Saturday classes on DJing, production.
There's like kind of a community building within where there's like DJs, producers, musicians.
Up and coming producers, people honing their craft and learning, and DJs and all these things. And they come here and practice, and we have all the new gear, so they come to check that out and get familiar. And a lot of DJs will come in from out of town being like, let me get a day pass so I can just get a refresh on the 3000s and the V10.
And what's great is that a lot of our guests, everyone from like Clark Kent to the technician to like Camilo, they come in here and they're just like, holy shit.
You want to play with all the gear, man? Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but you guys have like studio spaces where people can do live streams and they can do their Twitch streams here.
Yep. We got a whole green screen set up already, multicam, full on switcher. Like, we also do a lot of events here. We're bringing a lot of outside talent, organizations. We got a big event coming up with DJ City, Beat Source, and Serato.
That's part of our family.
Yeah. We did a big one last year with them. We got another one coming up.
For our listeners, is there any way we could hook them up with a deal, or, you know, like if they put in a R.O.A.D podcast code?
Yeah, tell me about it. What else do you have envisioned for this deal? It sounds like we're well on our way. Why don't you tell them?
You're working with us where they can type in a code for like R.O.A.D.
Yep.
And they'll get a month free, right?
Yeah, on our online platform. We have a whole online platform with like masterclass style education.
Nice.
Different categories and everything, instruments, drums. I mean, and then we have these things that we're launching right now called Pro Paths. So you can choose, like if you're a producer, you can take the Ableton Pro Path, the Logic Pro Path, you know, Serato Studio. Goes through a wide variety of knowledge besides just stuff in that skill set and discipline.
So our R.O.A.D listeners, if you're in New York, you can check out their facility. You can do a day pass, a week pass, a monthly pass. You can check out their site. You have access to all the education online.
Soundcollective.com. We also have a YouTube channel that has some of our content from the educational courses, and all of our events are live streamed and put up there.
I hope we can come back here and use your facilities again.
Looking forward to it.
Shout to Lefty and the Sound Collective. Thank you so much. Interesting. I've never heard anyone break down the Bronx and Brooklyn like that.
It was definitely like that. Like, really? It's a certain type of sound. Like, it used to be called a big beat. Like, we used to say, oh, he put the big beat on. Like, if it was top billing is the Brooklyn beat. Like,
right,
you know, it's like it's certain just joints. Even if it was from a different borough that they made it, the style of it was more like it represented the aggressiveness.
Warm It Up, Kane. Perfect example of it. Boom, 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 boom. The bass. and you like, oh, here we go, and gives you, and who I don't know who produced that record. If it was Marley,
That was Kane.
Oh, Kane produced that record. He knew. He gave you enough time to get to the dance floor. So by the time I came in, you was
No doubt.
And you're saying that like the Bronx was more percussion. It was like
well,
more.
I don't want to. You know, the Bronx was based truly off of breakbeats.
Or breakbeats.
Yeah. I think that we were in Brooklyn still.
But it was also maybe like, were there more Puerto Ricans in the Bronx? And it was like a little more integrated. So there was just a wider variety of breaks and like, you know.
Well, I think in the beginning, when I first saw people buying breaks was in Downtown Records. And it was in the subway. In 42nd Street.
42nd.
And Fifth Avenue. No, I'm sorry, in Avenue of the Americas. And you go down and like you were going to the subway, but then there was like these little floors before you got all the way down, and that was one of the floors. It was a record store, and we were buying disco records. We were buying 12-inch records and imports. Imports was another thing that DJs know from back then. Mm-hmm. It was probably from London, probably from France, and.
It cost double.
Cost double. And
yes.
it was, and it might have a different version of a song.
Totally had a different version.
Right. And it might, be a little bit longer, the intro. Something, they just changed it just because it was licensed to the UK.
You would have had like a 7-minute extended version of a song that you would have had a breakdown of all the drums and the bass lines, and it would have been a build-up, right?
Or there was an instrumental.
Right.
That you want just an instrumental? It's like, what? So all of that is going on, and one day this guy comes in, black dude. I would go there every week, buy records, and this guy comes in. He's got his trench coat on. He's standing there, and he's got a box of records, and everybody's like, Lenny, and it's this guy named Lenny, black guy, and he's coming in and he's got records. So I'm like, what does he have? Because I'm trying to get everything first. That's my thing, and it's some obscure 45. I'm not playing a 45. I'm looking for vinyl. I'm looking for a 12-inch.
Right.
This is Breakbeat Lenny. He comes in all the time. I see this guy now. Now I'm paying attention to him, but I don't know his significance in the Bronx. So Lenny is moving around the Bronx, hearing breakbeats that people are playing, like Flash, like Bam, like Kool Herc, and others, and Disco King Mario, and all these different people. Mm-hmm. And going and buying the whole batch and bringing them downtown and selling them to downstairs records, and they're selling it at a high price. So Lenny's making money. He's learning from the DJs.
Right.
There's no compilation of breakbeats yet or anything. Once Lenny gets rid of all of his original vinyl, the stock, you got any more? And he's like, no, there's no more. And he probably says, we have to put out a compilation. Mm. And he just takes whatever he has left and puts it on a compilation. So you Breakbeat Volume 1, Breakbeats Volume 2.
Wow.
I see he was helping like I did.
Allegedly. Mr. Beat Street Records over here.
Does it make sense?
It makes all the sense in the world. Right. You gotta help.
The DJs need it.
Exactly. Allegedly.
And so, so that's when I realized, and so this changes the whole store, this breakbeat thing, because up to that point, this is before they had like little DJ stations where you could play the music. It was just used to be you'd be behind the counter. Mm-hmm. This is the hot joints, and you playing the hot joints. Now the breakbeat dudes is coming in there like, yo, hold on, can you just go to that part right there? And be like, yo, bro, play the record. And he don't care about the record. He just sees the break from across the room on the vinyl. So, go right there, and then boom, boom, that. We didn't even see it. He was looking for that. That's what he came there for. And I was like, oh, okay. So he saw that. I said, okay. So then eventually it was like, all right, we got to give these dudes their own little section over here, just so they can play their breakbeats. So that's when the DJ, that was the reason why, to me, they set up a separate place where DJs could play their own music, put some headphones on. You go over there, got 2 turntables over there. Y'all got 2 different guys can go at the same time and play the records.
Wait, so you're saying before this there were no turntable stations for people to listen?
It was just the guy behind the counter.
Wow.
And he would play, you know.
And they were getting so annoyed by it.
Right. I was getting annoyed because, you know, I was into disco. I was into disco records. I was into, you know, the build-up. I wanted to hear the whole record. I wanted to hear, you know, how it broke down. You know, I wanted to hear all of that, you know. He didn't care nothing about that. Hip-hop was like, we just getting right to the meat and potatoes. Let's get right to the break. Forget about all them strings and all that singing. We getting right to it. Boom.
And so this is when you're DJing, and you're DJing in Queens?
By that time, I was DJing in Queens and Manhattan.
And Manhattan.
Right. There's a couple of DJs that looked out for me, gave me a shot, and I started getting gigs in Manhattan, which was the goal.
So I heard in the documentary about you talking about, you know, obviously Studio 54, but then there was this black disco.
Right. That's
clubs.
a whole documentary by itself.
I'm sure I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, we knew that, and like I tell people, one night, Russell Simmons, we all went to this place called Leviticus. Can't remember what it was going on there. And Russell had on Adidas. We all had on, you know, our hard bottoms. We had our collared shirts on. And I said, they're not gonna let you in with those sneakers on. He was like, nah, son, I know everybody up in here. I was like, all right,
We'll see.
yeah. And we got there, and Russell's talking, and I'm like, stop talking, bro. Just come up and move with us, and we're gonna all move together.
Right.
And the security dude looks down, and I heard him going, yo, can't come in here with them sneakers. And I said, told you, bro. Now we all in there. I'm like, I'm not turning around. I'm going in. I told you this. And so he's like, yo, I'm gonna get y'all later. And then he just walked away. But that was the pivotal thing, because Russell wasn't with it. He wasn't with that, you know, you can't get in. He didn't like that. So maybe a month later, he books a party there. It was Tana Gardner. Heartbeat.
Wow.
And he booked me and Lovebug Starsky to DJ.
Crazy.
I've never met Lovebug Starsky in my life before this. I've heard about him. I never met him. He's crazy. He's a nut. God bless the dead. He's also one of my best friends. And he's in there and he's DJing and he's talking and rapping at the same time. I'm like, wait a minute. I can just DJ at one time. He's rapping on beat. He's not like he's an MC, not like yes, yo, like not like throw your hands in the air. He's like really rapping and cutting on beat. Like he's a live record. And I'm like this, like, all right, we gotta rethink what we're gonna play.
Yeah.
He is amazing. And I've heard DJ Hollywood before, and Hollywood, I taught him that. This is what Hollywood will tell you. I taught Lovebug, in Lovebug, Hollywood, I love you. Lovebug was a little bit different. This guy was a master at it. And, you know, and he would just look at you like, what? And I'm like, not gonna intimidate me then. We're not gonna have that tonight. So I got to pull out some joints. So I played some good records. I was all right, but I was definitely blown away by listening to Lovebug Starsky.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
When a DJ is rocking it on the mic,
Right.
You're just like, wow, I really gotta.
Official. This is Lovebug Starsky.
Yeah.
You know, like, God bless the dead.
So while this is all happening, you're DJing in these clubs. You're also just like getting into TV because you love TV.
Yeah. So TV's, I went to school for TV. I went to college, and I graduated. I started doing this engineering thing, and then
and then your love of TV was like from like the Ed Sullivan Show. Dick Clark. So it was already music related.
Everything.
Because you got to see
Don Cornelius.
Right, Don Cornelius, Soul Train.
Bro, you know, like when sometimes they would play a record, or they would play a record, and you would think the artist was there, but he wasn't there. He was just playing the record. What? He's going to sing? That's like a B cut off the album. They're going to do that? But the album, they would just play it because they knew it was a hot song.
And they were DJs as well. Dick Clark was a DJ.
Right.
That's
right.
Right. You know? And so, you know, you knew the culture. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like certain DJs, like if you go to certain clubs, like there's a house DJ there, like back in the days, like DJ Lance, we go back to Brooklyn, or Tommy Allen. Mm-hmm. They played records a certain way. And if you didn't play it the way they played it, the crowd would be mad at you. I'd be like, I don't, why?
You're like, this is my way. But they're like, no, we're used to hearing it that way.
And if you didn't play that, that record and then the next record right after it, it was like, you ain't really playing it right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you know, that's a big up to them, to the DJs.
Yeah.
You know, they've trained their crowd to get it.
But it's also it's the first way. This is the time before the internet, before like music became readily available and it like went online. This is when they were actually being showcased the music by the DJ.
Yeah.
And so they were digesting this music from these DJs, and that's how they digested it. So they wanted every DJ to kind of deliver it the same way.
Yeah. I went to the Paradise Garage. I saw Larry Levan play. Amazing. Sound system was amazing. He wasn't the greatest DJ, but it didn't matter. And, you know, I mean, technical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes people say that, and I just did it. And I say that's not fair, because it wasn't fair what I just said, because he knew his audience. He knew how the records to play. He knew how to curate the night.
Tastemaker, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And so he's a good DJ. He knew exactly what he's doing, and he knew how to work the sound system. You know, there were times that I was just lost in the Paradise Garage. Like, what just happened? What did he just do? Like, what was that? You know, and because the crowd just went nuts. You know, and there's a record by this group called Voyage I still love to this day. It's a disco record.
Yep.
I Love You Dancer.
Yeah.
The first time I heard that record was in there. This is a black Spanish crowd, right? It's a disco record, you know. And he's playing it, and the place just went nuts. Like, I mean, lost it. You know, there was a woman in there. This is the first time I ever seen. I'm coming from Brooklyn, Queens. So there's this woman dancing like next to me. She's topless. And I'm like, what's happening right now, Ralph? Where are we right now? What's going on right now? We're coming back here next week. You know, this place is different, you know. But to just see different DJs and how they would take it to a whole nother level was amazing.
Indeed.
And so when you're like coming up, you wanted to be on TV, and you know, I would put your name up there with Dick Clark, Ed Sullivan, Don Cornelius as one of the original like deliverers and showcase of hip hop.
I got my style
music.
from them.
Yeah.
I got my style from watching them. I mean, and people like Frankie Crocker.
Frankie Crocker, definitely.
Yeah. Because that's all a reference I had, you know. So I was listening to these people going like this, you know. Don Cornelius had this thing, you know. I know his whole thing, you know. Dick Clark had this thing, you know. There was another Casey Kasem,
Top 40,
right.
America's Top 40.
right?
Yeah.
I listened to all of them dudes.
Yeah.
Is this? You have a great radio voice too. You have.
It's probably came from them,
Right.
Yeah, because you know, how do you talk? I mean, I think I always talk like this, but I think I definitely, once listening to them, said, you know, oh, I have to say it like this or have inflections like this, you know, the timing, right? And that's the other thing, the timing. You just made a good point.
But as a DJ, you're going to have that. To not step on top of, you know what I mean?
And getting to that point, in radio, they call it the point. You know, because, you know, I worked at Hot 97 for 10 years. And so you have an intro and you got to say certain things. You got 30 seconds or 10 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever it is. And it'll tell you got 5 seconds. And you start talking and you're like, da-da-da. So in your head, you're counting 31, 21, 22, 23, you know. And then, you know, here's Michael Jackson with PYT. And then it goes into the song, you know. And so I had that in my head already, you know, before I even started. Before I had the thing that told me how long I could say it.
You knew the 8 bars was there
right
at the beginning, and you never get out of it before the chorus.
Some people don't have that.
Yeah.
I know it when I hear it.
But you brought that to Video Music Box. You know, you were introing the records.
So it felt like you familiar.
Yeah.
And he made them familiar because it's like a lot of those videos, we never heard the songs before he played it on the video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He introduced so much music.
Like it was
show.
like you knew
like
it
you
already.
knew it already. Like you knew it already.
It's great, but it's like, I think you were saying like, the way you approached Video Music Box was like a visual mixtape.
Yes.
You were putting together the music videos like a mixtape.
Yeah, because at the time I started doing Video Music Box, I was still DJing. So I just approached it with the same energy.
So my question, you started going into TV and you started working at WNYC, right?
Yeah.
And you were like an engineer there. Yeah. And you kind of talked about this in the documentary, but I want to hear a little bit more about it. You got like a Sony tape. I just want to know how you got access to music videos.
Oh yeah.
And then exactly like, was it I mean, I'm sure it was hard in the beginning to get access to some of these music videos. I think you mentioned
So-
they wanted you to pay for
Wanted
shit.
to pay for it, yeah. So in the beginning, we got this tape one day. I'll just get right to that point, and it had the Whispers and Shalimar and anything on Solar Records.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is this? And I plug it in, and it was the Whispers performing, Shalimar, but it wasn't a music video. It was like they were in a sound stage, and there was 3 different cameras, and they're cutting back and forth to them. And then I read there was a little paper in there in the box that came with the video, and it says if you want to book these artists on your show,
Oh wow.
just here's a sample of what.
It's like a live demo.
Like an EPK.
Yeah.
Right,
EPK.
EPK.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So
But it didn't air anywhere. It was
it
just
didn't
kind
air
of
any-
like
they would send it to TV, all the TV stations. We were the TV station,
Like as a reference.
as a reference, and they would probably send it to
probably like the Tonight
radio
Show,
stations,
right?
right? The Tonight Show.
Be like, yeah. So
That's really what it was for. The Tonight Show. It felt like that. Mm-hmm. So I was like,
Interesting.
okay, and it sat there for a little while because I didn't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
So when you watched it, you were like, "Holy shit! This is like."
Right, this is great. I've never seen these groups perform because unless they're on Soul Train, unless they're on Dick Clark. Now I have something that Soul Train and Dick Clark don't have. Well, at least I think they don't have. They probably had it too, but I didn't know that. So I'm like this, So I sit back and I look at it and I go, we could put this on TV. So I called the people who sent me the thing. It was a PR firm. It wasn't even the label. So can we play this on TV? And they were like, well, we didn't make it for that. And I was like, okay. But she never said I couldn't. So I said, it's all right. So me and my man Ed, which is what you see in the documentary, me and my Ed said,
Dixon, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Ed Dixon. I said, how are we going to do this? So he says, you write some words, and then we'll play. You'll play the video, then fade out, and then we'll play another video. So I just would write some words.
But you had to find an open slot that wasn't
Right.
airing anything, right?
Yeah. So, you mean on air?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't know. At first, we didn't have a slot. Yeah, we did the show, but it sat there. And I went to the program director and I said, can we get this on air? And he was like, I'll get back to you on that. And, because the music videos didn't exist. We didn't need, first of all, nobody saw MTV. They said they started at this particular time, but nobody had cable.
Right.
So unless you lived in Manhattan in a certain little small section where people had cable,
Or in the Midwest.
right?
You wasn't getting
That was the only way you saw it.
It was impossible.
Right.
Like maybe 1 out of 20, 30 people had cable.
They didn't wire it in
Yeah.
the city for that stuff.
I remember when they started breaking up the ground. What are they doing? Putting in
Put the
cable.
cable. Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah. And so, we didn't have anywhere to air this. And so then eventually they had a what do you call it? The fundraiser. And you call in and you could raise funds for the station. And the guy came to me, the program director, and said, we're going to play some of those videos that you showed me. And I was like, all right. Meanwhile, I'm an engineer. Like, I'm pulling cables, and when he's telling me this, I'm like, okay. I'm trying to get the show prepped, And then the things came on. I'm the only person that knows they're coming on that, other than me and him. And they come on, the show, the videos are playing, Michael Jackson, the Whispers thing that I had,
Right.
some other stuff. And so I'm like, cool, I did something that I contributed to the team. Yes, all right. So then he comes back to me later and says, do you know when those videos played, people gave a lot of money? Mm-hmm. So I was like, really? Why would they do that? I was like, really? Okay. I'm not getting it. They gave you money, so they liked it. I said, oh, okay. Do you want to do a show every week?
Wow.
And I said, yeah. So the first time, this guy comes up, this producer, and he's got all my tapes. He says, I'm going to be doing this show, and we're going to be playing music videos. So I'm looking at him like, those are my tapes, bro. What are you talking about? And he's like, nah, this is what they want us to do, so I'm going to come up here and produce. I said, nah, y'all not jacking my
Oh,
idea.
really?
And so, and he's like arguing me like, look, this is what's going to happen. And then I'm like,
Taking your material.
right, we're taking it. So I said, well, look, I don't want to lose my job right now because I really feel like beating you up, but we're not going to do that. But what I will do is I will be the voice of this thing. And it was called Studio 31 Dance Party. It was 6 shows. They do exist. They're out there. I don't know if you look them up, you may find them. If not, I'm going to put some up maybe one day because I have the originals. So it's me talking, and we use this song by Tony. She works with Lisa now. Tony, she's the music director for Lisa and Cold Jam. Tony, I want to say Tony, something I can't remember. The record is called Video Burnout, and it was on Sam Records, I think. And it's a disco record, and we put that as the theme, and then I come in and say, "Welcome to Studio 31 Dance Party," and we played videos. But it was whack because the other guy did it. He
Right.
The timing was off. The videos he wanted to play, I was like, nah, that Al Jarreau's not popping right now, son. We can't do that right now. And he was playing all these different songs that he was into. I was like, you're missing it. Nah, play this. We argued the whole time. It was a fight. And then one day he just said, nah, I'm not doing it no more. I don't want to be around y'all. I'm out. And he was like, good, get out. And that's when I started Video Music Box.
And you took it over.
It was like maybe in 6 months.
So did the network pay y'all?
No.
We
didn't get paid nothing.
So you were still getting paid as an engineer?
As an engineer.
And as a DJ?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wow.
This is public access.
Yeah, so we wasn't getting paid that much. We were just getting paid a couple of dollars, but it was a city job. I had a city job, so you get benefits with a city job.
So like the first Video Music Box, what were the music videos that you played? Do you remember? Because you didn't have access to like all this hip hop.
No, hip hop wasn't really popping like that.
Yeah.
The only thing we had hip hop wise by '83,
Message.
But not even the message. The message really kind of came like I think like they made that video like a year later. Or it just didn't. You couldn't find it. Like somebody made it, and it was and then I remember looking for that video for a long time. Finally, I got it. But the record had been out already for a while.
But you were just playing a lot of R&B black artists.
Right.
That probably MTV wasn't playing or that people didn't realize had music videos, right?
Get Tough.
Okay.
Okay. On Prelude.
Right.
It was a record called Get Tough. Oh man. There was a couple of one-offs there that were popping, And and we would get those in whatever I could get my hands on. Basically, then artists started to see that I was playing videos, so they were like, "Let's get in my video." And so then people started coming up and giving us videos just off the street, like, "Yo, Daddy-O, Stetsasonic, here's my video." I'm like, "All right, boom." Because there wasn't any. Their videos were not getting played, and the label people. Most of them didn't know how to get in contact with who's Ralph McDaniels. They only knew MTV or VH1. And everybody was going like Full Force. That came later. Like they went to Sony and said, "You got to get Ralph McDaniels my video," and they were like, "Who's Ralph McDaniels?" And he's like, "Everybody in the hood watches Ralph McDaniels. Y'all don't know how y'all do this job, and y'all don't know who Ralph McDaniels is." And he put pressure on them, and then the next day, the lady called me and said, "Hey, Ralph, I'm such and such, and we want to send you all our videos." I said, "Yeah, but you told me like 3 months ago that you wanted me to pay for them." She's like, "No, you don't have to worry about that. We want to get you the video."
Oh, wow.
And so she sent me everything. Now I'm getting rock and roll. I'm getting all kinds of videos, just that anything that Sony, Columbia, Epic has.
So did you start going to the other labels like, well, I'm getting all this shit for free from Sony, and then they're like, oh, let's give you all that shit. So that opened the floodgates for everything.
Opened the floodgates, yeah. Up to that, it was like me conniving. I was doing like the DJ Clue, I was Clue, don't leave it out. Clue gonna snatch it. But I was doing that, I was like, I see something over there that says.
You have to go to the bathroom.
Slide that joint in there.
So you started getting all the music videos.
Yeah.
And then you had access at this point. So like now, like at what point does like everyone you start blowing up, music videos start going crazy.
Yeah.
And then at what point did you start the live club shit? It was like right after Fresh
85,
Fest.
yeah.
86. So then you started doing clubs.
Yeah. 85.
Now, were clubs telling you to come through, or you were asking promoters, can we have access to the clubs?
Sometimes, it's like there was a.
Well, like how did it start? What was the first one?
I would think that the first ones were the people that saw us. They booked us. They were like, well, they didn't see us first because promoters didn't. So it had to be somebody that we asked. Mm-hmm. We went out and we asked somebody and we said, look, Eric B. and Rakim is going to be here tonight. They don't really, very rare, did you see Eric B. and Rakim live? Can we come in and shoot it? Yeah, no problem. Or we just showed up and we just started shooting it.
And they just knew Video Music Box.
Yeah. Oh, shit, Ralph McDaniels is here. Boom, let him in. Yeah, okay.
So it's just you, one camera.
Yeah. Me and my man Bob.
And then you would go there and start filming.
Just start filming.
And then how did the shout-outs just start?
The shout-outs didn't start. The shout-outs really, to me, started when we started doing more Brooklyn. And in places like the Biltmore Ballroom, which is a Caribbean club, and the Ark.
And who initiated that? The crowd? They just wanted to get on the mic? They wanted to be on camera?
Well, I think for me, I remember saying, yo, you want to do a shout-out. Now, people say that Mr. Magic started the shout-out. People say that Red Alert. I never said that I started the shout-out. The audience said that I started the shout-out. But once that happened, then everybody out of the woodwork said they started shout-out. So I was like, I don't know. It's a hip-hop term.
So
I don't get no money out of it. So.
Yeah, just so our listeners know, we're talking about the actual concept of a shout-out.
Right, the concept.
Yeah, the whole concept
didn't exist.
And the phrase of a shout-out, to actually get on the mic and have the opportunity to publicly shout where you're from or your family or your girlfriend or whoever. That whole concept.
That's hip-hop.
It's hip-hop. Started with you.
Right.
I
Kamala
think
Harris
visually it was definitely Ralph. Because I remember Supreme Team used to be like, oh, shout out to,
Okay.
Yeah.
But visually, definitely.
So Supreme Team clearly was on before me. They were on the radio, 82 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say it's a hip hop thing.
Yeah.
People tell me, and Mr. Magic said to me one day, he said, you really made the shout out a big deal. And so I don't know what that meant. I just know that he said that. And for him to say that to me, I was like, okay. Okay, good. So what does that mean? Did I start it? Did I make it a big deal? Whatever it was, it became a worldwide thing after that. It wasn't just a hip hop thing in New York. So
now you're in the clubs, you're mingling with the crowd, you're documenting the performances. At what point do promoters start being like, yo, we want video, yo, can we hire y'all to come to this?
Yeah.
And then you guys just started getting on flyers, and then all of a sudden people started just going to the parties because you guys were going to be there.
Yeah. I met some guys the other day, and they said, we followed you, and he said from like 87 to 91, everywhere you went. And so we just had a crowd that came with us.
So my question is, what were they following? Obviously, they knew if you were there.
They might be on TV.
They might be on TV.
Right.
But was there also kind of like, this is going to be a legit thing because Video Music Box is documented?
Right, it's official. Because sometimes you get there and it's not official.
Right.
But there might be nobody there when you get there. They might say the artist is going to perform. Nobody got in contact with the artist. But if Video Music Box is going to be there, it's
guaranteed. Yeah.
And so at the time, how much were you getting paid? Like if you were part of a party?
Maybe $300-$400.
$300-$400
to host.
And I don't want to get in your business, but like a cameraman.
You just did.
I know. Cameraman gets like $50.
Come on, son.
I like the entrepreneurship of this whole thing. Like cameraman gets like $50 for the night.
Some $100.
$100.
Yeah.
And then like some drink tickets. You guys have a table? No.
We probably bought our own drinks, or sometimes we would get drinks.
And then at what point? And then this whole time, Video Music Box is getting bigger. It's getting more solidified. Labels, artists are realizing how influential you are, impactful you are, but you're still not generating. It's not monetized at all. You're not making any money from it.
No.
And at some point, you said it clicked where you're like, what was the point where you were at the party and you're like, everyone is here because of us, so we should be throwing our own events?
I think some of the bigger promoters started when the big promoters that I never really talked to started hiring us, and I was like, and then I looked at the crowd and I was realizing that's really, all these our people, You
started seeing familiar faces.
Right. That's when I said, oh, wait a minute. So we're promoters now. We should be doing our own thing. And my man Sam, Well, not Crazy Sam, but Sam Calhoun. He's in my documentary. He's my friend for a very long time. He was giving parties, and I said, Sam, let's start doing our own parties. And he was like, all right. And so we just started doing our own thing.
Was that a complicated thing to expand to?
It probably wasn't, but it seemed like it was in the beginning. Anytime you're doing something for the first time, it seems like a little weird. Because you're liable. You gotta pay for things. You gotta put your money up.
Right.
Like you might not get that money back. But
because throughout the documentary and when I was just looking at the history of Video Music Box, you had to adapt and restructure.
Yeah.
And restructure and expand.
Yeah.
And throughout all of this, you were just changing hats the whole time.
Right. And then the other thing too was that I wasn't taking money from the labels. A lot of people did that. And I could have done that, which would have took the liability off of me. Now, whatever, Def Jam pays for it. But I didn't want Def Jam to be coming back to me. I'm from Brooklyn.
You owe.
You owe. And so, I respect the street. And, you never know where the street's coming from. And so I was like, nah, we're not taking their money. Let's try it. Let's try it our own. And sometimes we made money, sometimes we didn't. And that was okay. It would balance out.
All right, a big thing about Video Music Box, when did you guys transition from, all right, we got the show, it's starting to get a little heat, now we got to make some videos ourselves? Because you guys started making videos.
Right. So the first real hit that we had was Roxanne Shantae's Roxanne's Revenge. And because it was, in the middle of that battle between UTFO.
That's like 85, right?
Right. And we just, got a call from a director that he was directing some videos he had given me. He was one of those guys that would come up and, yo, Ralph, I got a video. So he said, I got this artist, Shantae want me to do a video, but I can't do it. I don't know what to do. You guys are better at it. And I'm like, we never even did a video. So I was like, all right. So I go to Lionel, I'm a vid kid. I tell him, look, man, this is what's going on. He gets with either Shantae or Mr. Magic, and I don't even know if Marley was in the meeting, probably Fly Tie. And we're going to shoot this video, and we shot the video. We shot it in video, so there's a difference. Back then, everything was shot in film.
16 millimeter usually, right? Yeah.
16 mil. I don't know film. All I know is what I shoot Video Music Box in, which is videotape. Like a VHS or whatever, that kind of.
What was
format.
the big tape? I forgot what it was called.
The 3/4.
The 3/4 inch tape.
The 3/4 inch tape, because that's how wide the tape was. And so we had that. We shot it. We did it, and we didn't. There's no effects or anything like there are now to make it look like anything. We just shot it straight up.
Early on, videotape was it was kind of the standard.
Right.
People didn't realize they were I remember Super 8 or 8 millimeter or 16 millimeter was kind of artsy.
Right.
It was expensive too.
Right. It's expensive because you got to go through the process of coloring it and developing it, and you can't just use it immediately.
So a lot of the early music videos were in video.
Yes. Quite a few. You see. But the film stuff, you knew it because it looked good. It looked clean.
It looked amazing.
Yeah. So we didn't know it. So then we were like, how come ours doesn't look like the other videos? And it's because that's shot in film. We're like, oh, so how do we get that? Well, that's way more money. Okay, so how does that happen? So we realized that the labels were paying for it. It wasn't just some guys. Roxanne Shantae's video was paid for by the Lawrence brothers, some guys from
Philly.
From Philly.
Pop Art guys, yeah.
Right, Pop Art Records. She was on Pop Art. She wasn't on. There was no Cold Chilling.
There was no Cold Chilling at that time. Yeah.
So Pop Art Records, the Lawrence brothers are legendary gentlemen, street entrepreneurs,
right?
out of Philly.
That's the youngsters pops.
Yeah, the youngsters.
The rappers.
Yeah,
the youngsters. That's their pops.
Yeah. So we did at least 3 videos for the youngsters too.
Wait, which videos did you guys do?
Oh man. Cruise Pop, and we did the other one where they sample
Master Pale.
You guys did Cruise Pop?
Yeah.
That was a beautiful video.
Yeah.
That was Stretch in the video.
That was cinematic. That was really cinematic.
Yeah. So all of this stuff is going on, and people are asking us to do videos. So that one is one of the early ones, Shantae. Big up to Shantae. She's been my friend ever since then. I was a producer on her movie that's on Netflix now.
Right.
It's crazy.
And we've just had an amazing, career and friendship throughout the years. She's one of those real people that you can call and go, this is the situation, and she'll tell you exactly what you should be doing.
Dope.
And she's not about the bullshit. So she's dead ass.
So you started doing all these videos. Now I have a question, and more so I have to prove something to somebody. I saw a video of Eric B for president.
It was.
You heard him. He said there was a video for Eric B for president. Everybody that said that I was lying about it, it was actually a video for Eric B for president.
Yes.
Wow.
And there was
came out.
it might have been Biggie's first appearance on Video Music Box, him freestyling.
So that, just 2 days ago, no, just yesterday, Donald Harrison Jr., a jazz musician that lived on Biggie's block on St. James Place and Fulton Street, tells me, I bought Biggie a video camera in, I don't know, maybe it was 1992. No, it was before that. It might have been 1990, because in this video.
That was 90, he had a flat top.
Yeah,
so
he's a kid.
Yeah.
He's a little he's got his school uniform on, Biggie. And Biggie's going, and Donald Harrison Jr. is holding the camera. He says, what do you want to do? And he says, Biggie starts acting like he's on Video Music Box. Yo,
Crazy.
Ralph McDaniels, what's up? Da-da-da-da-da. He's talking, right? So this video's out. It's been in a couple of documentaries that Biggs had, and people thought it was my footage. And I'm like, that's not mine. He's not even a rapper then. He's just acting like he's a rapper.
But he says Ralph.
He says my name. And Donald Harrison Jr., this amazing musician, jazz musician that lived on Biggs' block, and that's also in one of the last documentaries I think that the family did. Big would walk over to his house and he would say, how do you make records? And would ask this jazz musician, how do you make records? And every once in a while he would rap. And Donald Harrison Jr. said, I could rap too, and he would rap too. But he's a jazz musician from New Orleans.
Right.
And he showed Biggie equipment and playing, and he wanted to get him into jazz, but Big was like, yeah, that's cool, but I want to make rap records. And so that relationship, was something special to both of them, in developing your
Right.
vision. It was also incredible that was the guy who shot this film, because I never knew who shot it. I said, you're holding the camera, Donald. He's like, yes. I said, amazing.
It's insane. And you just realized this a few days ago.
I mean, yesterday, from when we're talking right now, yesterday, he told me this yesterday morning. I was on an interview that I did with him, and I wasn't talking to him about that. He just started talking about, he said, can I tell you something? I was like, yeah. He says, I bought Biggie a camera. And I was like, okay. And then he tells me, I was the guy who shot that thing. And I was like, the video that's in the documentary? He says, yeah. I said, you were holding the camera? He says, yes. I said, oh my God. I can't believe that.
In your whole career and the whole history of Video Music Box, what was like the most memorable, I guess maybe interview or artist that you kind of like maybe exposed to the world? I know there's so many.
There's so many, and I always say that this is when I learned I had to do my homework as a journalist, as a presenter of any kind of music on TV or wherever, radio. I interviewed Patrice Rushen. She's another jazz
I remember that.
R&B musician.
Sitting
right?
by the piano and stuff.
Right.
I remember that. Sure.
Haven't You Heard? All the Forget Me Nots. Amazing records.
Yeah.
Hip hop has sampled a lot of those songs.
And those records are even bigger now
Right.
than ever. Yeah.
She is the most intelligent woman I ever met in my life. And she started talking, and I knew she was intelligent when she started talking, because it was going over my head what she was saying, and I was like, I gotta get my stuff together here before I start interviewing. I just thinking I'm interviewing a singer.
Just like wing it, right?
I'm winging it,
Yeah.
and she knew by what she said that it was going over my head, and she was like, you don't get it. He don't have a clue what's going on right now. And I was like this, and I'm trying to fake it. And she was very nice. She was a very nice lady. And she was like, no problem, we got it. You good. And, we got through it. But that was, she was an amazing person to meet and to talk to. And just the fact that she still does stuff now, you know, she still goes out and she does shows, you know. She's really known for, you know, more of a fusion jazz type of person. But those years when she made those records were amazing, and they were big records because she's her ability to take all of that energy that she knows and put it into one thing is super important.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've always had like a foothold with the community, and how you feel, how important is that to you, or how you was able to mend the music stuff with the community responsibility and stuff of that nature? Because a lot of the stuff that I can speak for myself, I learned about, you know, apartheid in South Africa at the time, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Sun City and all that stuff.
Sun City.
Self-destruction.
Yeah.
You know, all that type of stuff. It seemed like you had, and because you were, I guess you were older than the demographic that you were serving.
Right.
That it felt like you were an elder that was teaching us. So how do you feel that, you know, the responsibility that you were able to have with the show?
That's what I think. That's my parents came from the '60s. Like, they went to the March on Washington. You know, Black Panthers. There used to be Black Panther Party storefronts where I lived at. You know, in Brooklyn. When we were kids, you would go to African dance, you know, festivals, and you know, it was just around us all the time. So you had that knowledge. It was part of the culture. And I think somewhere down the line, somebody said that, you know, there was a show called Soul. And I mentioned this in the documentary. And this guy named Ellis Hazlett. And it came on PBS, and he did that. And he would have, like, Stevie Wonder on his 21st birthday performing. And then he would have some brothers and sisters with, you know, burning incense and stuff on them. Like, what's happening right now? What is going on? But it was dope, you know. Like, you felt like you was in Harlem, 125. You know, it was happening right there, and I was like, Dick Clark don't do that. Dick Clark doesn't do that. Ed Sullivan's not doing that right there. This is something different right here, and you know, and that was also embedded into me as a young person watching these people coming up, and I brought a little bit of that with me along the way. You know, I did all the X-Clan videos. I didn't, except for maybe one. I did every X-Clan video, and X-Clan and Sonny Carson. I mean, Lumumba Carson, who's the main guy. You know, the
Professor
protected by the red, the black, and the green. His father was, you know, a guy named Sonny Carson, an activist. Like, he would be in the street having protests and you know, and riots, not riots, but, you know, like just sit-ins and all kind of stuff, close the Brooklyn Bridge. I was with them all the time while they were doing this. In the middle of this, you know, and this was like a Brooklyn thing. Like, it was, you know, like he would like stand in the middle of the street, you know, and curse out the chief of police, and the chief of police would go like, all right, okay, Sonny, all right. You know, like, I never saw nothing like that, you know, in person, you know, when I saw Sonny do it. And so then here his sons come, X-Clan, Brother J is the rapper, and
Professor X.
Professor X is, you know, doing his thing, and then Lumumba, and Paradise. And, you know, and after I did them, then I just started directing Wu-Tang Clan. So one clan to another, X-Clan to Wu-Tang Clan. Literally, I was like, what's up with the clan? You know, in my head at the time.
What was the first Wu-Tang Clan? It wasn't Cream, right? Was it?
Yeah.
It was Cream.
No, well, that wasn't the first video. Protect Your Neck was the first video.
You directed Protect Your Neck?
No,
I'm saying which video
I
did you
did
do?
Cream.
You did Cream.
Yeah. So RZA came to me with Protect Your Neck. They're not signed to Loud Records yet. This is another, remember, I'm telling you, people are just showing up with their video.
Right. This is like when they were like probably giving their music to Stretch Armstrong, and they
ain't even get to Stretch yet.
They didn't get them. Wow.
So comes in, they come in, they give me the video. I'm like, all right, I put it on, and I'm looking at it. It's got time code on it, and I'm like, all right, so when you finish it, I'm done. And so he's like, you could play it like that. And so I was like, he said, yeah, we're going to do some more to it, but if you could play it like, because he wanted me to play it that day.
Right.
That's why he came there. And I was like, all right, let me take a look at it again. So I'm looking at it.
You never heard this song ever
Never
before?
heard it. Well, I know RZA, but I know Prince Rakim.
Rakim, yeah.
This is not Prince Rakeem. This is something totally different. I'm like, what is this? He said, I know it's something different, right?
And that video, that original video is raw as hell.
Right.
This
is the original. No loud records, no nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I start playing it, right? I'm something about it tells me that this is good, but I'm just not sure. This might be just demented Ralph. So I'm playing the video. Boom. Some people, everybody's not 100% down with the Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this? What's going on? They're not making no money. There's too many of them. This is what? They got all kinds of sound effects in here. What's going on here, Ralph? What are you playing? Like, I don't know. I'm starting to get it. I'm understanding what's going on. I understand the 5%ers, the 5% nation.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up with them. Not a 5%er, but I know. So there's a lot of knowledge being dropped in here subliminally. I don't know if the world is even getting what they're saying yet, but there's something here. And then Steve Rifkin calls me, who I knew as a promoter. He's a record promoter.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a label. He's a guy that comes with the white labels. He's one of those dudes. He goes, look, man, can you tell me how to get in contact with RZA? And I'm, who's RZA? He's like Rakeem. I said, oh, okay. So I don't even know who RZA is yet. And so he goes, I said, well, I don't know. He just shows up when he show up. I don't know. We got beepers back then. You know, we don't have no cell phones like that. And I don't have his pager. I don't know. I don't have it. And so he goes, all right, well, if you see him, tell him I'd like to sign him.
Wow.
So I said, all right. And then next thing I knew, like a month later, I got another copy of the video, but it said Loud Records on it.
Mm.
And so I was like, oh, I guess he caught up with him. And then RZA came to me and said, I got a video I want you to do. And I was like, all right. So he said, here's the music. And he must have gave me a CD or something, or a cassette maybe, I don't know, during that time. And it said Cream on it.
Wow.
And so I put it in, I'm driving, I was like, what? This is it. Totally different record from Protect Your Neck.
Mm-hmm.
This record is melodies, and it's like a different record. I was like, whoa, we got a hit here. I said, when are we doing it? He's like, when do you do it? I said, we could do it Friday. We can shoot it on Friday. And we shot that. And the thing with me is that there was another video too before that, chess boxing, that was done. And
you directed chess boxing?
No, I didn't do chess boxing.
Yeah.
But none of the videos that I saw were outside of Staten Island. And I said, we have to take them outside of Staten Island because nobody's going to Staten Island like that. We don't know Staten Island. So can we take it to Midtown? Can we take it to Harlem? So in Willie Burgers, we got to shoot where we see Willie Burgers because these Harlem dudes are haters. We got to show them that we in their hood. It was really done intentionally.
Wow.
And so the Harlem cats was like, what? They're in front of Willie Burgers? And I was like, that was the point. We just want to just let you know that this thing is coming all out worldwide.
Was that shot all in one day? No.
Yeah.
Really?
One day. It was minus 20 degrees in Staten Island that day. It was one of the coldest days I ever shot a video in.
Remember they had the ice on there and the dude almost fell?
Yeah.
He was running back to the car?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the MPV scene was crazy.
Yeah.
But the stairway, everything,
all
that
of
was
that.
also, that must have been like a 12-hour
This girl,
shoot,
we're in the hallway where Deck is doing his thing. And so we're all packed in this cold, it's freezing. And this girl, like they live there, like they live in that building. Where we're shooting that. And so this girl's like, Dennis. And he was like, ghosts.
That's what's up.
And he was like, man, she knows that.
Wait, so how long was that night? It was like 12 hours?
Yeah, we just did it till it was over. And then we had interruptions because what happened is the condensation of the camera going from cold to warm causes a problem. So you got to give it a chance to melt down.
What'd you shoot, 16 millimeters?
That was 16, yeah.
How many? Oh my God. I mean, 16 was like what, like 6 minutes a roll?
Right. And then the problem too is that it's cold, so that film could get gritty on you. So there's the scene when Deck is in the going upstate, 40 of us, and
right.
That footage got messed up. and it was because of the going in and out, and so we had to doctor it up, make it look even more grittier. That's what we did. So because we couldn't make it look better, we could only. Make
And when
it
you
look
were
worse.
editing, did you use the Avid, or were you just editing literally film to film? Like
No, we were
cutting-
using Avid. Yeah,
Avid.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was before the.
That's got to be one of your favorite music videos
Yeah.
of all time.
Came out like we literally. That's another one.
You
of those
rushed
things.
home and you
I rushed
developed
home,
it.
developed it.
That's what's up.
Got it out by Friday. We shot that on a Sunday. By Friday, Loud Records had it. Steve Rifkin was like, "Looks good to me." RZA was like, "That's fine. Let's get." And there was no changes, no nothing. We just put it out.
And then he plays it on a show, so it's kind of like an exclusive.
Right.
Not
Crazy.
only am I playing the new joint, I'm
Right.
playing the joint that I'm
Crushing,
that
yo.
yeah.
Yo, MTV Raps is tight right now. They go, yo, hold up. You got to give it to us before you give it to Ralph. But they don't know I shot
did
the
it.
video.
Right.
There's no giving.
Right,
I got it already.
Right.
That's crazy.
And the record labels told me that, like, they want us to give it to them first before you can. So can you hold off on playing it?
That's insane.
And I'd be like, they got the whole country. I'm just in New York. And they were
They were really,
it was yeah.
Political.
It was political because it was they.
but you went to them first. You literally, you kind of went to them and told them the concept.
Me, my personal opinion on that
Yeah.
is way too much power for a black man to have. Way too much power for a black man to have. And I was friends with everybody. I'm friends with Dre and
Ed
Ed
Lover, yeah.
and Freddie and Ted Demme, who produced the show. But it was like,
You must have felt some type of way
for a hot minute.
when an artist went on their show. Did you feel some type of way or no?
Yeah, because they was acting like it was mad happy, and it was the only time they'd ever been on TV. I'm like, bro,
You were just
on my show?
Yeah. Yeah.
what are you doing right now?
It's funny in the documentary you said like you wasn't worried in the beginning when Yo MTV Raps came out.
Because they didn't
It
have
was
cable.
it was kind of whack.
Right, because people didn't have cable either. Because I would be like, y'all see, and they were like, we don't have that channel. I'm like, oh, okay. No problem. Good.
When did you start getting worried?
Maybe like
when-
91, 92.
Why was that? They started.
Something happened, probably some exclusive they had.
They had something before you did.
Right.
The NWA probably something.
Maybe. No.
No,
we
you was the
played
first to
NWA
play. You was
early.
the first to play straight out of Compton.
Yeah, people were like, why is you playing West Coast? This is whack. What are you doing? I'm like, nah, bro, this is West Coast. You look Public Enemy, this is that too. And so they were like, oh, okay. And just look, this is it. Plus I was going to the West Coast by that time. So I'd already experienced what it was, hip hop in different areas. And I'm trying to like, nah, we got to start opening our eyes. There's
Right.
something going on outside of New York City.
Yeah, I remember you were like one of the first advocating for like Ice Cube too.
Right.
And playing like
Cube,
all the solo Cube shit.
Luke stuff. I was
Cypress,
playing Me So
yeah.
Horny, it was like,
Yeah.
what? I played videos that people would be like, I'd go to jail for right now, back then because there was no censorship at that moment. And, things that were said in rap records, if you listen to them now, you're like, what? What did he just say? You can't say that.
Right.
Now. But back then, it was the Wild Wild West.
You talked about MTV blocking you.
Yeah.
I think there was an article where you were speaking about it. You had an interview and you were talking about MTV blocking you, and I was like, I kind of wanted to know more.
That happens. It's competitive. It's like clubs. There was clubs I used to do, and there were promoters that'd be like, call the cops or call the fire department. Nothing going on. What are you talking about?
Right.
And you'd be like, who did that? It was a promoter. It was another promoter that you were crushing him or her, and they were tight. And
They want to ruin the event.
Right, and they wanted to ruin your event. And, what happened? Y'all all right? So, MTV and others, any business, would do this kind of, it was a street thing. I saw it.
They would tell the labels like,
Yeah.
we'll air your video, but if you send it to Ralph McDaniels, we're not going to air the shit.
Well, they wouldn't say well, they probably did say Ralph McDaniels.
Yeah.
But they definitely wanted the exclusive. We want it. Don't let nobody else play it. The only other person that could be is maybe me and maybe one other person. You know, well, by that time, BET. But, you know, I didn't know BET and MTV is owned by the same people at that. Well, actually, at that time, they might not have been.
I don't think
They weren't sold to
Viacom. Yeah, Viacom owned it later. Yeah.
So they probably were like, no Ralph McDaniels, no BET.
Wow.
We want the exclusive.
It's like David and Goliath. You're just fighting these huge corporations.
Right.
These networks.
Right. Because even BET was only in D.C. There was no cable. People that saw BET on a regular basis lived in D.C. When I went to D.C., because I was on shows with them, I was like a guest, you know, talking about directing me and Lon. And it was just this little thing in D.C. So it was a Washington, D.C. thing. I was like, oh, okay. And then it became a national thing and became a, you know, Donnie Simpson, you know, all of that. It became a big deal.
Did you ever like feel overwhelmed that you were just fighting too much? Like it was too much of a...
I think I'm built like that. I enjoy it.
You do?
I think DJs are built like that.
Maybe.
You know, it's like...
I get it, yeah.
I know what you're going to play, fam. I know exactly what you're going to play, and you're going to try and... I'm up. I know exactly where you're going, and I'm ready. I've got 5 different moves ready for whatever y'all are doing. It's like a debate. I'm ready. So whatever y'all got going... So when it pops up, we know it. Like,
So you're always kind of thinking ahead and forecasting ahead
right.
a little bit.
Yeah. You know, we saw it come in. Oh, that's what you want to go? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would take it personal for like a long time. I was very petty like that. I'd be like, I'm going to keep on stepping on you every time I see you, fam. Because of what you did to me.
But the best thing was the artist kept coming to you to direct videos for them.
Yeah. We did some amazing videos. Lionel was one of the best directors ever.
So Lionel would take the creative lines a little bit more?
Yeah, he was into it more than me because I was running Video Music Box and he was running Classic Concept, which is our film company.
Wow.
And in the beginning, it was both of us, but then after a while, it was like Lionel was doing he did the whole TLC first album, all of those videos.
Really?
Proud to Beg, all of those videos. Belle Biv DeVoe. Whole album.
Wow.
Boyz II Men, first album.
That changed culture, man. You're talking about stuff
Crazy.
that actually changed. Those videos changed the way people did it.
Yeah. Keith Sweat, first album. We did whole albums. Like one director, like the directors now are mad at us. Like, why are they getting every video? We should get an opportunity. Just a different look. And
at that time, like LaFace, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys just have a contract or just an agreement with them, or they just knew you guys would get it right?
I think we did a video for LaFace. I can't remember the name of the artist right now. It was on LaFace.
Well, TLC's on LaFace, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it was another artist that we did. They weren't successful, but they were good.
Damien Dame, something like that?
Maybe, yeah. It might have been Damien Dame, yeah. And so we did it, and then they were like, well, we got these other girls, and Pebbles is their manager.
Right.
And so we met Pebbles. And she said, the girls have their own ideas, and and that's how the conversation started. The whole outfit, the look was the key to everything with them.
Wow.
And then Belle Biv DeVoe saw that and was like, oh, we want that. But we got our own ideas too. And Michael Bivins is an amazing guy and just is a smart businessman. He taught us a lot. Just by talking, just being around Michael Bivins, because he's been part of New Edition for forever. When I started, they started the same year I started doing Video Music Box.
So wait, did you have a hand in any of the production or the concept or the development of the music videos?
Everything.
Everything. Wow.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of guys that came out of your school, like a lot of directors that came.
Yeah.
That worked with.
Yeah.
Worked with those guys.
Hype Williams was my assistant.
Really? It's Queens too, yeah.
Queens guy. We pick him up he lived right down the block from Q-Tip. And we pick him up, take him in, and his job was art department. So it'd be like, okay, like come in this room. Well, there's a lot of equipment in here. We need to move some of this equipment around so we can get a clean shot of the wall and the artist. And so you guys go in there and move that equipment out. I don't care, put it in the hallway. I don't care what you do it. In fact, maybe you should paint the walls blue. Like that was what they would do. And then lighting would come in and do what they do. And so that's what Hype was the part, was the art department. And then he started saying, you know, I really want to start directing. And I think me and Lionel were open to it. Lionel was very, a little bit more crucial, a little bit more, I shouldn't say crucial. Lionel was a lot more into the directing thing than me. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. Lionel's like, hold on, well, what's your ideas? You know, Lionel's going to ask some more questions.
A little more protective, right?
Right, yeah, you know. And so eventually Lionel started giving him opportunities. I gave him an opportunity. Actually, he did this video for Strictly Roots, which Dion Broadway,
Rest in peace.
He just passed away. They wanted me to do the video because I had done their first video. And they were like, Ralph, can you do it? And I was like, no, I got this guy named Hype. He's really good. He's got good ideas. I think you guys need to, he's got a fresh look. I think that's what y'all need. And they were like, no. And I'm like, I'm telling you, he's going to be fine. So he did their video, which was amazing. That's his first video that he ever directed. Strictly, he never mentions it. And I'll be like, yo, you know, I tell the guys I used to sell to Broadway, I said, he never mentions that y'all were the first video. He always talks about Buster and all these other amazing Missy and all that stuff. Right. But y'all were the first guys who gave him a shot to technically. So I remember. He said, that's right, Ralph, because we didn't want him.
One of the videos I would just watch over and over, it was Black Moon, Who Got the Props.
Yeah.
It was just like so raw.
So New York.
Yeah. It Ain't Hard to Tell Nas.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time we kind of really saw
Nas.
Yeah, I really saw Nas.
So Nas I met through we did all of this Third Base videos.
You did the Third Base video?
Right. We did Gas Face. We did, Brooklyn Queens. We did all of those videos. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's how I met Bobito, because he used to hang out with them.
He used to work at Def Jam.
Right. And so one day, you know, Search was like, yo, you know, got this guy named Nas, Nasty Nas, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I see Nasty Nas. There's footage out there with him performing, just hanging out with
Main Source.
Main Source in Large, and Live at the Barbecue. The infamous Live at the Barbecue with Nas. That's my footage.
Wow.
And we shot that, and so this is the first time I'm seeing him. I've heard about him through Search, but now I'm seeing him like he just got Nasty Nas. I don't even know, Live at the Barbecue is not even a record really like that yet. But it's a big record once they do it. They perform it, it's like, oh, this is hot. And so that's the first time I see Nas.
Is that the only footage of Nas performing that record?
I don't know. That's the only time I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, Large had done, Looking Out the Front Door. He did a bunch of the Main Source records that same night.
Yeah.
But everybody was excited about that because of, Fatal,
the energy.
Nas, Akinelli.
Joe Fatal.
Yeah. Were all on that record.
How did you get the opportunity?
That event was for me.
Oh.
That event was honoring me, Red, and Marley. It was a weird thing because me, Marley, and Red were like, why, what is this? Like, basically, they made money off of us that night, and we didn't know it. We were being honored, but people were paying $40 to get in there.
That's funny.
And we were like, why is, because it was a radio dude who did it. Like, it was a guy we knew. We didn't think he was jerking us. We were like, no, he can't be jerking us.
Right.
He's like the program director of BLS. Like, how is this possible? He jerked us, bro. we still stuck.
Wait, so did Nas come to you? Or
Nah. Nas was like, that's Nas. Nas is like a kid. He don't even know what's going on.
Right.
He's in there with the whole Queensbridge, Massive, and they just having a good old time. Nas is... He's an artist. He's still young. He's there with his boys. So he's like,
if you see the performance, like Nas, like once he finishes rhymes, he fades into the background. You don't see him no more.
Yeah.
After that,
because he just wants to get back with his boys.
Yeah.
And go in the crowd and hang out.
That's early. That's
he doesn't realize he's it's tough with hip hop because I guess with any type of music, you got your boys.
Right.
And then sometimes you can't bring the boys. The boys can't come. He's not there yet. He doesn't realize that.
He doesn't realize that they become the problem. They start trouble.
All the time.
But you being like having a history in Queens, right? Growing up in Queens, you had access to all these Queens artists. Were you just kind of like the first trustworthy kind of industry person that they could trust, especially with like the visuals for their music videos, and it seems like you've been championing all these, like, a lot of Queens artists.
I think the Queens artists just happened to be really successful, but I was talking to everybody. I was in the Bronx, Showbiz and AG, you know, it was Big L, you know,
MOP, Brooklyn.
MOP, yeah. So they just,
Yeah,
I think most people, you know, just think that, you know, Damon John said this one time, and, you know, I helped him with his fashion line, FUBU, right? Mm-hmm. You know, he said...
you shot some of the imagery for that, or what?
No. I did the first interview with them. They had one T-shirt or two T-shirts. And I said, you know, he said, actually, one of the guys, Keith, one of the members of FUBU, Keith Perrin, he worked with my mother. And he came to my mother and said, I want to meet your son because we have a clothing line, me and my friends, and can see if Ralph can do an interview. So my mother calls me and says, this guy that works for me, he says clothing line, he knows you, and he wants to, well, he doesn't know you, he wants to meet you. Can you do an interview with him? So, of course, it's my mother. I said, yes, of course, no problem. And so my mother works across the street from me, like she worked at One Federal Plaza. And I worked in 1 Center Street, which is all downtown Brooklyn, right down by City Hall in New York. So I said, look, tell them to come by on Friday at 4 o'clock. We'll do the interview. So the guys come, Damon, Keith, Jay, and Carl. Yeah. And they lay out this shirt. And I said, what's the line called? And they said, FUBU. And I said, what does that mean? And they were For Us, By Us. I was like, what? That's amazing. That's the most amazing thing I ever heard in my life. For Us, By Us, because we're thinking hip hop.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited. You know, I'm like, I never heard this. So I'm like, all right, this is positive. Let's do it. And we do the interview. We put it on. Damon's phone is ringing off the hook after being on Video Music Box. They said they had their clothes in different places. They only had it on Jamaica Avenue in Queens. One store. I was like, you better get some more clothes. Then he called me and said, can you introduce me to Diddy? Because we want him to wear the shirt. I said, all right, well, I think they shooting something. In fact, I know Diddy's going to be over here on this day. You guys should just go up there and just give him the shirt. I'm pretty sure he'll wear it. Diddy wears it. I saw it on Video Music Box. It's dope. Yeah, I'll wear it. And so it just took off from there.
Wow. Like, you've been a connector for, like, you know, like this story, of course, and with Carl Kanai and all these different movements, to the point where you actually started throwing fashion shows. Right.
So we started the fashion shows because of artists like FUBU, or labels like FUBU and Carl Kanai. I didn't realize that when they had Fashion Week, a lot of these urban designers were not allowed to be part of Fashion Week. So if you weren't Gucci or Fendi or, you know, these big European lines, or Ralph Lauren, you know, you couldn't be in it.
Right.
So Russell Simmons with Fat Farm is the first one to kind of really break into that. But he was the only one, you know, to really be able, because Russell just had money from the record business and threw it down and said, but Damon and Carl didn't have that type of bread to do that, you know.
It was a big deal back then. I remember just even going to a Fat Farm, having a Fat Farm T-shirt was everything.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
But even before that, it's like you saw it on Video Music Box. You saw Carl Kanai. You saw Tupac and Carl Kanai. You saw Biggie and Carl Kanai.
Yep.
Like, everybody wore Carl Kanai at one point. And that was the representation that we saw from watching Video Music Box.
And Tupac said, well, he told Carl Kanai, I won't charge you for this. I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. I didn't charge FUBU. I'm doing it all for the love. I hope you guys are successful, you know? And so we don't have that anymore. That kind of love doesn't exist. I mean, maybe it does. I shouldn't say that. But you don't see it a lot, you know, especially if people see an opportunity, because everybody's an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true.
Your little brother's an entrepreneur. Like, everybody wants to see, because the internet has made it so everybody can see it. There's an opportunity to monetize everything.
Right. And the relationships aren't cherished as much. They're more disposable now, right?
Right.
The way they're seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started this thing called the Fat Fashion Show, and it was really just to kind of give a space for urban designers that weren't allowed in Fashion Week. And we did it in Midtown at this place called Supper Club, which was a great location. Some people had been doing parties there already.
Yeah.
And it just fit. And then all these people started showing, like Mariah Carey came, and the Knicks came. Remember, you used to see the Knicks in the city all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
I don't see that anymore. Like, you see Yankee players, you see athletes, they don't come, like, what parties do they go to now?
Yeah.
But you would see all these people at our parties and our fashion shows because there was beautiful women there, and, and clothing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that happened, that you had all these people come. The first event we did, Montel Jordan performed This Is How We Do It. That was his record. It was just out. And it was hot. And then we had, other artists who came. And, when Mariah came, in fact, we had already moved from there. We had moved it to 1018 when Mariah came. And Mariah just showed up, and they were like, Mariah Carey's here. I said, where is she? She's at the door. Let her in. Like, what are you guys, like, why is she at the door? Put her up there. And don't have nobody else up there. And she came, and I went up, and she's like, hey, Ralph, and da-da-da. And I'm like,
Crazy.
what? So it was
Crazy.
special, yeah.
So I have a question. Now, you have all of this on tape, analog tape,
Yeah.
VHS tapes, probably 3/4 inch tapes. What's going on with all of this footage?
So-
I can't even imagine. You must have like multiple storages holding all of this.
Yeah, and so all of those tapes are analog, 3/4, and we had to make them digital because we have to make them you're able to put it in a computer and look at it.
Yeah.
And so we started doing that seriously. We were doing it before this, but seriously we really started doing it maybe like 7 years ago.
And you're still doing it.
And we're still doing it because it's in real time.
Wow.
So we have, let's say, 20,000 hours of content. And so,
Oh, wait, how far are you along?
we're about 3/4. No, about 40% there.
That's,
So we're doing
Only 40%.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, like I knew just from the tapes, which is the good stuff. So I said we'll do the good stuff first. So get that out the way. And so it's been an amazing journey. Like, I forget if there's interviews that I have that I totally forgot that I did. And I'm like, oh, wow, I don't remember doing this. And
So you're cataloging as you go.
we're cataloging as we're going. So we have an archivist who's amazing, and she knows hip hop. And she also kind of knows the scene. She's a little bit younger than some of the 80s stuff, but she knows of it. And she's done enough research that she kind of knows certain things that she should be looking for. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. Some amazing Wu-Tang stuff, amazing Jay-Z stuff. Jay was coming around. We were in Brooklyn, so we were doing stuff all the time.
Yeah, early original flavor.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
With Ski there and everything.
right. So that part is the great part. Is just kind of reimagining what we can do with it now.
Can you share maybe any
Well,
plans?
my thing was, and still is, and we talked to Showtime about this when we were doing You're Watching Video Music Box, was to do another series, but a series, not a one-off, on hip-hop, on Video Music Box and on hip-hop. And they're open to that. So they're still open to that, and I think that's a possibility.
Can you explain more, or can you tell, what do you mean, like, you're going to have a series kind of showcasing
all of
or
these
highlighting?
moments in hip-hop?
Right.
Because many of those moments, I didn't realize it at that moment when it happened, then became pivotal things to what happened down the line. Like, I have footage of Kane performing on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. It was like, I think the Nation of Islam had this little kind of space, and you could do hip hop parties there every once in a while. Kane is performing, and Biggie's right in the front of the crowd, right in the front of the stage.
Wow.
He's not even rap. He's not in Biggie's. He's not Biggie Smalls on
That's
it.
crazy.
He's right there. So it just shows you the roots of certain things. How Biggie's checking it. We know the connection between Kane and Jay. The roots of how this thing goes on. Like,
Wow.
the roots of how Run DMC affects LL affects this.
Connective tissue.
Yeah.
And it's such a small world.
Yeah.
It's a big world, but it's very small because
Yeah.
everyone's so interconnected, especially at that time.
But if he's not videotaping,
If there's no
there's
documentation,
no
of it,
documentation.
we kind of say, oh, it might have been that. But no, I have it on tape. That was the reason why I even started taping stuff. I knew that back then. I said, we're going to want to look at this somewhere down the line. And because a lot of the tapes from the soul days, like St. James Brown and others, were just eliminated, or they were thrown away because nobody thought that they had any value.
I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
So Viacom, they just had a big thing where
Yes.
a lot of their digital
Yeah.
was just pretty much left for dead and just gone
Yeah.
because they didn't want to pay or they didn't want to have the responsibility of curating it or digitizing it or whatever the case may be. So a lot of this stuff that was on your MTV Raps or
Right.
those pivotal interviews, they're just gone.
crazy.
This is like this.
the grind.
Right. But
All
still,
empty
there's all these moments on there,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
That's culture.
Yeah, you
And it
got to
just-
put that somewhere.
Yeah.
So wait, so all this footage of like Grand Puba or Brand Nubian on like Yo MTV Raps, it's all gone
Yeah, because they wouldn't, I guess, follow through with that.
because they
part
didn't
of
want to
the company.
digitize anything.
Or they just, just didn't see the value of it.
Whoever that person is, they should have been fired to even think that, because everything matters. When I used to shoot video music box, the cameraman would go, so what part do you want to shoot? I said, shoot everything, because we don't know
Right.
what's going to be that moment. If you go to a Goldfinger set, you don't know when that thing pops in his head where I'm about to do some amazing shit. Y'all better get this. Y'all better be ready. You better be ready. So we just tape everything. We're going to tape everything. We just sit around, just pay attention.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of videotape, right? That
Right.
you could just record for hours
Record
and
for
hours.
hours and hours and hours.
Well, the beauty is videotaping and then being able to have it
Right.
for later. And for them to just like put that by the wayside is kind of crazy.
It's so funny. It's like the way life works. It's like, 90s, you guys are battling it out. 30, 40, 50 years later,
Yeah.
video music box is going to survive. And Yo MTV Raps is not. It's kind of a crazy thing.
Well, it's
a
they
long
say-
journey.
Yo MTV Rap. So I did this show during the pandemic, which was bizarre. Yo MTV Maps. It wasn't called that at first. We had no name at first. So it was this idea of Ralph was going to be going around the city, and he's going to be almost like Google Maps. So in fact, I think I said, oh, so this is like Google Maps. So maybe we should call it Google Maps, something, with hip hop and Google Maps. But there's no name. So I'm doing this. Doing this with Viacom. And
Wait, so Viacom reached out to you to do a show?
yeah, so these guys that I worked with, okay, no, that's not true. This lady that I worked with named Deborah Harris, she has this thing called Hush Hip Hop Tours. And I helped her in the beginning when she first started. She came to me and her and her husband who wanted to start. I said, this is what I think you should do. And, and then a couple of times I did the tour. I got on the bus and talked to people and did that. I was like, I can't do this all the time, but, you should start doing your own thing. But this is going to make you a lot of money. She continues to do it. She comes to me. She says, Ralph, I got this proposal from this company, and they want to do a show, and it's going to be based around the MTV Awards. And during the breaks, they're going to go to us. And I was like, all right. She said, so I want you to host it. I said, okay. The company comes back, we do the whole proposal, we run through it. This is what this is what the breaks are gonna look like. Or maybe a month before, we're not gonna do that. We changed the direction of where we're going, so we're not gonna do this. But we wanna make that a series, what you guys were working on. I said, okay. So we get together with this company, we start doing the show. The pandemic is in. We're wearing masks during the show. Fat Joe, Fabulous, ASAP Ferg, all these great artists we're getting from different areas, bringing them in, or I'm going to them on this bus, and we're getting everything done. And there's no name of the show. So I'm like, what's the name of the show going to be? And they're like, well, we're trying to figure it out. And so then one day we got a name. So I was like, okay. And they were like, Yo MTV Maps. And I was like, nah. No. You guys are trying to kill me right now. And I was like, I look like a sucker right now. I'm looking like, nah. This is the way I felt. Like, there was a Yo MTV Raps, which is legendary.
Right.
I can't do Yo MTV Maps.
Right.
I'm looking like a creep right now. Like this was something in my head. It's not my idea. I'd never even say the name of the show. And I was like this. And they were like, no, it's going to be fine, Ralph. It's going to be fine. I'm like, who did this? Somebody set me up for this. Damn you, Viacom. And I was like, so the first thing I did is I called Ed Lover. I said, yo, I just want to let you know this is what just happened to me. So he's like, okay. Now, I don't talk to Ed all the time. So he's listening to me. Like I said, so I got hired to do this show, had no name. And now they want to call it Yo MTV Maps. And I'm like, nah. So he goes, yo, Ralph, don't worry about it. This is some bullshit. This is the type of shit that corporate does.
Right.
Don't feel no type of way. They did the same stuff to us. So I said, all right. I said, I just felt like, like this was wrong. He says, I understand. Don't worry about it. Then I call up Freddie. So he said, man, this happened. Freddie, he gets excited and says basically the same thing that Ed said.
Right.
And so I said, all right. I said, he said, nah, man, fuck it, get the dough, get the money. I was like, all right, and that was it. And the show came.
I'm surprised you even worked with Viacom after all that history,
Well, I think that it was Ted Demi's sister that was the executive producer.
Right.
And so she's been really fighting for music on TV because they don't play no videos.
It's done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's been fighting for that, for, trying to get that done. She works there, she does stuff, but it's not that. And so she said, maybe this is an opportunity to bring music videos back to MTV. Excuse me. And that's what that was.
What's a wrap for that now? Because they got rid of all their catalog.
Right.
So there's no points of reference from anything. So they more than likely, MTV is not going to be MTV. They're just going to be programming.
Yeah.
Right.
No music involved.
No music involved. This is not music television anymore.
It's funny. I was telling Goldfinger, I said, we were talking about all your episodes. And I was like, I would 100% subscribe to a video music box.
Yeah.
Like an app where I could just access every episode with the music videos.
Yeah.
And just watch it like.
So is that the dream? Is that what
it wasn't the plan. Well, so we started the nonprofit Video Music Box Collection. The reason why is to go back to education again. And that's why we did the book, Roscoe Learns About Video Music Box. And it's to take it back to who's going to be the next Ralph McDaniel, who's going to be the next Fab Five, who's going to be the next Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, who's going to be the next Free and AJ, like who's going to be that next person, Tigger, and to get people that might be interested in not just being personalities, but maybe really into the visual art of it, because it's an art, and there's some amazing directors out there and amazing producers, and let's bring that to the stage, to bring that community up and that culture up, because it's a whole culture of people that just like to be do lighting and, and camera work and all in editing, that's a whole culture of amazing people. So that's what I'm really trying to reach. Down the line, if we do some other things with it and curate some great experiences, that's cool with me too. And we worked with Mass Appeal on some curating some stuff. They did some stuff last year for Hip Hop 50. And we have some other ideas that we want to do as well.
Like Video Music Box, Yo MTV Raps, just music videos in general, I don't think people realize how important it was, because it not only was it exposing artists and like music to everyone, but it was like, it really expanded black cinema.
Yes.
All the directors that started in cinema started with music videos.
Right. Well, that was their plan too. Yeah. A lot of those guys, I don't think Lionel, who worked with, my partner, I don't think it was his initial plan to make a movie, but he made a movie. He did How to Be a Player.
Right.
Featuring Bill Bellamy.
After
that. And but I don't think that he went into it like that. Hype did Belly. Others have gone on to do have amazing, careers.
Well, like all these amazing, I wanted to ask you, but all these amazing music directors, like from Brian Barber, Hype Williams, Paul Hunter, even Diane Martell, right?
Diane Martell.
One of my top favorites, Mark Romanek.
Yes.
Spike Lee, Chris Robinson, Robot Films. like I was in love with music videos.
Yeah.
So I would study video music box, and I would just remember all, you know, it's like we remember the producers, the DJs, the artists, and it was like the directors were just as important.
Well, remember when they started putting the director's name on the screen?
Yeah. Later on.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, most of our videos that we did that were so epic, like, you know, Self-Destruction,
You have to know
the
that.
Symphony,
Yeah.
our names weren't on there. You know?
That's why I had no idea some of these music videos you're naming. I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
You know, like the Symphonies, like, you know, people go like, oh man, it's one of the most amazing videos. All the Public Enemy stuff that we did. You know, just the Biz Marquee, you know.
That's insane.
You know, our names are not on there, but then like around 91, 92, I think they start putting your name on BET and MTV.
Yeah.
They put directed by. And, you know, so I caught a little bit of that with Cream, Nas. Like Cream, I remember it said my name and it said Raekwon's name. I was like, Raekwon didn't direct Cream.
So who was your like favorite music director, or who was your favorite director that you were inspired by initially?
Lionel.
Lionel.
My partner, because he really was into it. Like he, you know, like he would get like, you know, he'd have a whole meeting, you know, and staff and, you know, and sit down with lighting and sit down with, you know, the gaffers and the grips and, you know, and I'd be like, he's really into this, you know, like, did you read a book or something? Like, what just happened? But Lionel was a comic book head too, you know, when we were younger.
So that goes hand in hand with storyboarding.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think that kind of, and he wasn't going to do it. It wasn't a plan.
Yeah.
He was getting ready to do something else. He was, you know, I tell the story in the documentary. He was getting ready to go to the service. He was going to join because he wanted to be in law. He went to school and he was going to do law. And he wasn't satisfied. Man. And I was like, yo, man, come down to the TV station. You might dig this because it's kind of like what we do when we DJing, but it's audio and video.
Yeah,
Just the choices, right?
Yeah, but it's just like I'm just realizing it now that you guys actually created the genre of hip hop music videos.
Yeah.
You guys just formed
Yeah.
and curated it. It didn't really exist.
There were other people that were doing it, but I think they were doing it more from a director's cinematic type. Like,
but you were doing it you were inside the culture.
Right.
You knew exactly what the viewers wanted to see, what you wanted to see, and then you also knew intimately, like, yo, we got to film in Harlem.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are from Brooklyn. We got to film in Brooklyn. We have to, you know, we got to get deep into the.
Yeah.
Into
I
the
hated
roots
some of the
whatever.
early videos.
How you feel about them now? How you feel about music videos now?
They could use some work. It's could use some work.
Wait, what do you mean you hated the videos?
Because they didn't, like, you know, like you'd be like, oh, you know, I was walking down Fulton Street, and then you're looking at the video, it's like, that's not Fulton Street. I know that, and everybody who knows, who've ever been in the hood, knows that's not Fulton. I don't know where they're at right now, to be honest with you. I don't know what block that is. And I'd be like, who did this video? Why would they do that? Well, all they had to do was go down to Fulton Street and shoot it. And I think that the directors at that particular time didn't know that you actually had to show. Like, we took that seriously. Like, the culture took that.
Yeah.
Like, I was wearing a Champion hoodie, and like, that's not Champion he's wearing right now. Who told him? Who gave them? There was no stylist back then. We gave the artists some money, and they went to the Ave, and they bought, or wherever, the block, and they bought, and they came back, and yo, I got like this, I got like four hoodies, I got some jeans, I got some Ewins. I said, where that, and that. All right, for the first scene, what do you want? And then for this next scene, there was no stylist. They just went and bought with their own money. Or we gave them some money from the budget.
That's great. So Lionel's creating like different stage setups.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need a different outfit for this, for this.
4 setups for each. That's back then. That was the formula.
That's insane. I'm just realizing that. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was math. It was science. It was a whole thing to it. And we just was happy to be there. We were happy. We were excited. Like, we just weren't going to create. I hope this idea works. As long as you get the artist that the artist is with it, then you're good. So if the artist is with it, he didn't care what the record company said to me. I'm like, are you good with this?
Wow.
Because you're the closest person to the street, to the culture. Like, if Kane goes, nah, it's not going to work, we believe him because he's there. If RZA goes, that's not going to work, I believe him because he's there. So
Was there any like treatments or music videos that you guys had to fight for, where you're like, just trust us, this is gonna work?
with the record companies,
With the record companies.
the record companies usually would be like, well, we want to take him out of that light. He's done that already. And meanwhile, the artist is telling us look, I didn't make the record. This guy said this on the record.
Yeah.
Like, what are we supposed to do? He's supposed to be driving in Malibu when he's talking about shooting up drugs in the Bronx? What are we supposed to do?
I remember the Method Man video. There was like two. There was the raw original version, and then there was like this, when Wu-Tang blew up, there was this like overly produced one.
Right.
And I remember being young and watching the overly produced one. We're like, well, what is this?
Probably for MTV.
Yeah. And then we were just like, the raw one, the first one was raw and crazy, but it looked better.
That was like ODB had a couple of videos like that too.
Yeah.
People still like, yo, you got the raw one of, I'm like, I don't know which one it is, but let's see. Because it's, you certain parts that you know.
Yeah.
Like at the end, the last 30 seconds, he's in the hallway and he's laying down. I'm like, I don't know. Let me go back and look at it.
In the future, very soon, or when are we going to see the Showtime series coming out for Video Music Box with some of the highlights?
I don't think it'll be. I would say maybe next year. It's something.
Okay, that's pretty soon.
About. Yeah.
That's pretty soon.
But Showtime takes their time. Like it took me forever. I shouldn't say forever. It took me a while to get to Showtime. It was something. This is something that most people don't know. I had to deal with Mark Wahlberg. So
for the documentary.
Okay. Mark Wahlberg has a documentary company, and one of his guys that work with him grew up in Long Island, Rockville Center, Long Island. Watched Video Music Box as a kid. Called me up, said, "Hey man, did you ever think about doing a documentary on Video Music Box?" I said, "Actually, we have, but we do not right this moment. We're not shopping anything." Well, I work with Mark Wahlberg. I want to introduce you to Mark and his team. And I said, Mark Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, like Mark Wahlberg, Hollywood star, Mark Wahlberg. I said, oh, okay, here we go. We going to Hollywood. And so I talked with them on the phone. I was like, I got to go out there and see. I'm coming to Hollywood. I'm coming there. I want to see where y'all at. They had an office in I don't know if it's Century City or somewhere out there, and drove up, pulled up, boom, big building. But there's nothing going on there. It's empty. And I'm like, what do y'all do? He said, well, we just bought this building, da da da. It's official. This is official. We in Hollywood. This is it. So I sat down and they started telling me about people that they know, that other people that they're doing documentaries on. One was Damon John. So I said, really? So I said, I'm going to call Damon up right now. So I called Damon. I said, Damon, I'm sitting here with Damon's like, oh, that's my man. And they talking back and forth. And I'm like, all right, so this is legit. We here. I'm like, wait, look at this. And so we sat.
What year was this?
That was 2020.
2020.
And I'm 20, yeah. And so we're sitting and nothing happened. Nothing. We just sat. We signed an agreement that give them a certain amount of time to get a deal. And then that ran out, and then we extended it. We had meetings with HBO, which is how Mark Wahlberg did a lot of work with HBO.
Entourage.
Right, all that stuff. And so we figured that's us. We going to HBO. We going to the ship. We going to HBO, y'all. We good. Back away from me. And so nothing happened. The lady, I'm on a Zoom call. Now we in a pandemic. Zoom call with the main lady. I see her name on every documentary in life. Sheila Nevins. I'm like, this is Sheila Nevins. She's the one. Her name is on everything. She's like, yeah, she's talking. She's very nice. I feel like it's about to happen. She's about to give us some money and a date. No, guys, sorry, it's not. We can't do it right now. We kind of ran through our music budget for documentary, so we probably going to pass on it. I was like, oh, man. Tight. I'm like, okay, so what else? And and Mark, so it's an agent that's getting these meetings. It's not my agent, it's Mark Wahlberg's people. The agent goes, I think you guys should be in BET. I'm like, nah, son, come on. Why? Because we're black? And I said, nah, come on. So we have a couple other meetings, Netflix, There was 2 young kids. I knew they didn't know anything about
Right.
music, but I was like, that's not going to happen. And then, so we sat. So I had what you call him, Sasha Jenkins. I suggested him as the director at that time because I had worked with him. I worked with him with when he was doing his stuff, and he's the main guy at Mass Appeal. But he was saying he was leaving Mass Appeal, so I said, well, okay, so come do this with me. And so he's like, all right, cool. So he's like, look, I got a meeting with Showtime. Would you be interested in that? So I said, yeah. So then he tells me that Nas is going to be at the meeting. So I said, so is this a Mass Appeal? Well, I didn't even know like the relationship that Nas had with Mass Appeal at the time.
Right.
And so he calls me back. He says, we suggested like 5 different documentaries. The only one they want is yours. So I said, oh. He says, Nas was really adamant about it. So I was like, all right. So that's it. So Nas is really there representing Mass Appeal, not as a director. He's representing Mass Appeal. But I don't know that. I don't know what to relate. I'm thinking that Sasha doesn't work with Mass Appeal because that's what he told me. So then he goes, oh, I'm going to do this through Mass Appeal. So I said, oh, so now I meet Peter Bender and the Mass Appeal team. And that's how that documentary came about. But it was supposed to go with Mark Wahlberg.
That's crazy.
And then Mark Wahlberg, well, not Mark Wahlberg personally, but his team was tight. And they tried to make it seem like I was doing something wrong. And I was like, nah, dude, come on, don't do that.
They weren't pushing it ahead. Yeah, they couldn't get it done.
That wasn't my fault.
Right.
I felt bad because I was like, all right, so give them some money, like, and everybody's giving them nothing, Ralph. But so I said, give them a couple of dollars for the time that we was there. I don't like to burn bridges with people. I don't want. I still would love to do something with them.
Maybe for the series.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's the way I've always been. Like we did have a good. We created a great reel and all that kind of stuff, and we had great conversation. I don't want it to be like that. Just over this goes to nothing. So give them a couple of dollars, and then let's shake hands and be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this the movie thing and you're digitizing your library, your catalog, and all that stuff, what do you think your legacy is going to reflect besides, you know what I mean? Like, what is your wishes for the video music back? So I know you got the merch now. You're doing, clothing and stuff of that nature.
I think for me, it's this the book. Roscoe Learns About Video Music Box, because this book was based upon a student and his parents, the parents grew up, going to all those amazing clubs and stuff in the 90s, and they want to show their kid where they came from. And that's the culture, because specifically in black culture, we dispose of things very quickly. And it's good and bad, because, I'm a historian. I like to remember everything. I remember little details, I remember, Funk Master Flex playing house music before hip-hop.
Right. TKA and all that stuff.
Because he had to.
Yeah.
In order to lock down that slot. And then eventually it became all hip-hop. But he had to do that, like I was there, when those radio stations started, and I was there when certain clubs wouldn't allow us to do hip-hop music. I was there when Curtis Blow opened up for The Clash.
Wow.
And the punk kids hated Curtis Blow. But Russell Simmons said, it's great. They hated him, but now they know who he is.
It's important because there's all these stories that affect culture and life. And then it's a domino effect. And the problem is people only see the aftermath. And they don't tend to remember like what happened before.
And it's 360, bro.
Yeah.
It comes back around. Like I was DJing the other night, and I'm like, I forget that most of these kids don't really know some of these records, so it's kind of new to them. Now, if it's new and you like it, it's like a new record.
Yeah.
So let it play out, because I'm like, I'll judge it on how they react at first, and so I'm like, are they feeling it?
But you got to think though, they have a point of reference through you, so it's almost like you might be giving them too much,
Right.
Because it's like, yo, damn, I learned from you. So if I'm playing in any of those joints,
Right, that's the insecurity in me.
How do you feel about hip hop and music now?
Great, it's great.
You think it's great?
You know what? I was listening to this record the other day, and I didn't play it the other night. I forgot the 41 record.
yeah,
I love that record.
right.
That record represents a moment,
Right.
Everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
That's why it was a hit. For that quick moment. And I was telling the guys who produced it or who managed those guys, I said, yo, you got an opportunity right here. Not everybody gets this little window right here. Y'all got to run with this right now. This is when you put some money out and just don't worry. It'll probably come back to you. But I thought that was an amazing record. Of course, the Lil Uzi stuff. I like Ice Spice. I think Ice Spice records are great. I thought they were house records when I first heard them because trap is kind of drill is like that. It's like drill is like a house beat.
So in some of those records,
Right.
Some of those records,
It's just like a halftime house beat.
Yeah.
kinda,
Right.
right. And then Ice Spice represents that East Coast Jersey club.
Jersey Club, Baltimore,
Right.
type,
That
yeah.
double time energy, right?
That's why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I like Jersey house. I like house music, and so and it's simple. It's not too complicated. She's whoever's DJ Enough's son.
Yeah.
Is the one who's producing
Riots.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not by mistake. That's gonna happen.
His beats are crazy.
Yeah.
And then you did radio too, so people know you from the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love anything that sounds new. So I'm not gonna ever hate on the new music, even though some of it is like what.
That's the DJ you knew, though,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's like we could never it's so funny. Like I meet a lot of DJs and they hold on to an era. They can't adapt. Like they just get like, oh man, I remember the 2000s or the 2010s
Right.
were better. Or I don't want to do this, and they end up getting phased out.
Right.
But like a real true DJ,
Yeah.
they're continuously adapting because
Yeah.
they know when a sound is new.
I wasn't a Dilla head when Dilla came out, came out, but I developed into a Dilla guy, I like this. Doom, all his Scarface and all of these different artists,
You didn't like Dilla with the Uma with Q-Tip and
I didn't
Quest?
realize the connection. I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't get it.
And sometimes some things are so far ahead that you have to kind of catch up until they real resonate. Like, oh wow, this was really special. Or maybe I wasn't ready for it at that time.
Yeah. You have I just alone I feel like if you have this Showtime series, I feel like you could just do a whole episode on Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just
Biased, we biased.
just on Tribe Called Quest, I feel like you have so much gold with them.
Yeah. Well, Q-Tip has been a guy from the community for a long time, and my son, they grew up with Q-Tip, and so I know him before. Well, I didn't know him, but I was aware of him.
When he was John.
Right. And the thing about where they grew up at, well, at least where Q-Tip grew up, is a heavy jazz influence. So many jazz musicians lived in that community in St. Albans, Queens. All of this is, you realize that nothing happens by mistake.
Wow.
There's all of this jazz stuff happening right there. There's also this group called the Fatback Band that has a storefront right there, a couple blocks down from where Q-Tip and them grew up, which makes the first rap record, King Tim III. Not a great record, but it was the first rap record. It was whack to me. We didn't play that. Fatback Band was an amazing band, amazing group.
They just weren't.
That particular record wasn't there for me.
Right.
But so all of this is happening in that community. And, Fife's mom was a librarian. Or she's a poet, I should say. She's an amazing poet.
Wow.
So you hear her talk and you go like, oh, so that's why Fife can talk like he talks,
And Biggie's mom is a teacher.
Right.
So you kind of got that connective tissue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's ill, Ralph? Just from my perspective, it's only about a handful of people that can say, I was there, and I was there before they got big, and I see them now, and I still have a relationship with them. It's like Red Alert, it's a handful, a very small handful of people. You have LL Cool J that just dropped the album a week ago. Now he's there before he's even LL. You're there, and you see that whole rise. What's your relationship with people like those guys that you see them now, and how does that go?
I think that LL, to me, LL should just make records with a beat, like Run DMC, back in the days, like just a beat and just maybe some scratching. Mm-hmm. And I love an LL record like that, just hard. Just that's the way I want LL.
Like simple. Yeah.
Right. I haven't listened to the whole album. I like the Eminem record. Is that on his album?
Yeah, that's on his album. Yeah. But I'm not talking about most of the music. I'm just talking about where they're at right now.
Oh, okay.
And as far as life. Because, who would have thought the skinny kid that you taped at Maria Davis, would be Jay-Z.
Right. We had no idea. And, I look at Nas, even Nas, Nas got a lot of money. And so I'm like my big little brother, I should say, right? Mm-hmm. Because, this dude, he's done well in hip hop as well as in other businesses that he's done, and so it's, you gotta acknowledge that this ain't just, he don't live in Queensbridge no more. This ain't 41st Side. This is something else right here. And so, we respect that,
It's touching though, in the documentary to see him and speak about you and Video Music Box and see all these legends and pioneers talk about you and Video Music Box. It's just,
Nobody thought that they didn't want Jay-Z. I'm bringing it out.
They didn't want him part of the documentary.
Right, because they said that he wasn't going to do it first. He's not going to do it. I'm like, why? Do you know my relationship with Jay-Z? And they were like, he only is going to do it if he owns it. And I said, I don't think that's true. And so we reached out to him, and we really, really were like, okay, we need a date. He did it. He said, okay, meet me here at Rock Nation. And I went there, and it was me and him and the camera, and he did it. And, everybody was like, wow, what are you doing? I told you he wasn't going to do it. And I was like, he's doing it right now. He's talking about, we're sitting right here with each other, we're doing it. And so Jay-Z goes to me, I heard you didn't want me in your documentary. And I was like, now that's a lie. And I said, and whoever said that is getting fired. And so he started laughing. I was like, we'll just leave it at that. And so he was like, all right. Diddy, they were like, Diddy's not going to do it unless he owns it. I said, he'll do it. And they were like, no, he's not going to do it. And I called him, and he said, absolutely. When do you want me to do it? And I was like, Diddy said he's doing it. We just got to give him a date. So y'all get with his people, set up the date.
That's a hell of a G card right there.
How could they say no?
Yeah.
How could they?
Yeah.
It's because these people, I was their hero to them, to Jay, to Nas, to Diddy.
You were there only.
They were sitting in their room, on the bed, watching me. So, come on, you can't.
You were the person that was going to change their life.
I didn't know that. Nas knew. He said, you saw something in us that we didn't even know was about to happen. I was like, well, I wasn't the only person, but somebody, I saw something was there.
But it's visually, they can see it. And that's the thing.
Why did they say oh, Jay's not going to do it? Because they just thought.
People are speaking for other people, that's all.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. And you know what?
It's just past
I'm pretty sure,
dealings. Past business shit.
Right, business stuff. And
when you weren't involved, when Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box wasn't involved, they're like, there's no way Jay's not getting involved. And they didn't realize as soon as you make the call, they're going to be like, of course, Ralph.
Yeah.
Of course, Uncle Ralph will do it.
Right. It's not going to be it's for Ralph. Okay.
Right.
No problem.
Let's
do it.
Yeah. You did so much for the culture.
I didn't think
for nothing.
Right.
You did it for nothing, for the fact that you just wanted to showcase and show the culture.
I didn't get no ads. We didn't run no ads on Video Music Box. It wasn't like Hot 97 where that was the commercialization of it, or the MTV Raps. That was the commercialization of it. These organizations made a lot of money off of Jay-Z coming up to the TV station on the radio station. I didn't get that. And if sometimes artists don't realize that. They're not seeing it. They're just seeing it just as one thing. Mm-hmm. I think in the case of the businessmen like Jay and Diddy, they were like, he's not getting no money for this. Why is he not getting no money? Oh, he's just doing it off of the love. Okay, we with that because we made the music from that space too.
Right.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part about it is that it came from the culture. It's like you have somebody that's co-signing it. That's a direct student from what the efforts were that you put forth.
But it's crazy because it's like what Ralph, created is basically Star Wars. You created Star Wars. It's basically, this is your life's legacy.
That's crazy.
And but it is Star Wars because we look at it and it's like we worship it. And even when we were watching it as kids, we're still adults, and I still get goosebumps looking at the footage.
Yeah.
It's like, and all our heroes are still there. It's
still
like
there.
Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, they're just all rappers and musicians,
Yeah.
And you're the storyteller. You're the George Lucas of this whole legacy. And I'm kind of wondering, did you know? Now you look back at it. Do you kind of look back and realize like, I didn't realize I would devote my whole life to this video music box.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was going to go in that way. By the first time somebody recognized who I was.
Was that on the train?
Yeah.
You thought
it wasn't the same moment.
It was definitely in Brooklyn.
When you thought you were going to get robbed?
That was a different moment, yeah. That was a different moment. I was like, nah, son, I can't go out like that. But, once somebody said to me, oh, my God, you're Ralph McDaniels, and I was like, Because it changes you. Now you're paying attention to everything that you're doing. You got to be mindful of everything that you do. Where are you going? How are you going? What you doing? What you wearing? All of that becomes, important.
Well, I like to thank you myself because my mom's, she really kind of took to the fact that you were an adult and you were doing this and you spoke eloquently and you conducted yourself in a manner that was responsible. Even like when I was telling you about the South Africa stuff and all that stuff, it meant something. It meant something,
And I didn't realize as much as, I did it because out of instinct, but I didn't know what the impact would be in some cases. It's like Stetsasonic, AFR, ICA.
Yeah.
Like people recited that, like you knew every country in Africa.
Yeah.
Like from that song. Sin City, all of those artists, apartheid,
Gil Scott Heron
anti-apartheid.
interviews and stuff like that.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments too, is Gil Scott. I tracked him down for that one. He was like, all right, meet me at the Blue Note, young blood. No, he said, brother man, that's what he said. Meet me at the Blue Night, brother man. The Blue Note. And I was, all right. So I went there, and he was sitting in there just messing around. I said, are you ready? He's like, yeah, set up. I was like, yes.
Yeah, there's so much education that I got from Video Music Box because you had almost every day was curated.
Yeah.
So then you had you had a throwback. I was like watching old school R&B and soul music.
Yeah.
And then another day was just like all like a mix of Caribbean and everything, and I was just learning all the old school hip hop. I was just like,
and the samples, because by that time now I'm going to buy records from this guy, and I'm finding out this was
this
Fred Wesley. This was all these James Brown. So now I'm trying to find to get those guys. I'm looking for Sugarfoot from
Ohio Players.
Ohio Players. He's performing at SOBs. We're going to do an interview with him. We're going to talk about hip hop.
Wow.
And then we're seeing all these great artists from yesteryear, our elders, and he's got like this connective thing where he's introducing it to them, but now we know that we should really look out for those guys because Ralph interviewed them. It's dope, man.
It's just been such an honor to have you here and to sit with you, and I'm really looking forward to as much Video Music Box content as possible. So
now, where can they find it? Where can they find what you have out now?
So go to videomusicboxcollection.org. You can donate there. You don't have to just donate there, but you can go in there and you can find out why we're doing it, what we're doing, updates. You can get the if you sign up for the newsletter, You can get the newsletter on events that we do outside, collaborations that we do with different organizations, from the African American Museum in D.C. to the Schomburg to Queens Public Library. Any type of collaborations that I do with different organizations or people that are into archiving and preserving and digitizing our culture. That's what we do.
And then you got the book.
And the book you can get at videomusicbox.com.
Lift it up.
And you'll get it out right away. We'll send it out to you right away. We have them on videomusicbox.com. I'll sign one for you.
Amazing.
And you can get a signed copy. And this is great for parents as well as for young people, because it's a coloring book workbook. So it's a little bit more than just words. It's got
There's arithmetic in there. There's,
right.
Yeah.
So you can color in here, and then there's fill in the blank stuff here. You know, which, you know, because I knew we were competing with phones. Like, you could run through this real quick if it didn't have all this other stuff in it.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff. Go ahead, Goldfinger. You go ahead and look at some of those questions.
I gotta read.
See, every
this is
time
beautiful.
I went to do an interview, and they were like, "Yo, this is like not that easy, man." So we just wanted to make it a little bit extra.
And then we can also look forward to hopefully a Showtime series, right? That's
Yes.
getting processed maybe next year.
Maybe next year. We hope to. And we you know, the pandemic kind of screwed everything up. So
Right.
stuff that was supposed to come out got backed up, wasn't shown. You know, so now you're just kind of getting all of this
Playing catch up.
rolling out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're still DJing?
Still DJing. Yeah. If you want me, I love to VJ.
And VJing, yes. Yeah.
I VJ'd last
Awesome.
night, and it was an amazing night. Big up to my crew. I'm wearing their hat.
Classic material. Shout out Carlos.
Carlos. I love the old New York.
I love the old New York.
Classic material. And we had done a collaboration before with the Video Music Box Cap, but he put 40 on this one because it's our 40th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have the merch?
Yeah. And we got. Oh, I don't have much. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, I've seen the
Yeah.
hoodie.
But that's where?
It's on there.
Videomusicbox.com?
Also, by the way, a good friend of mine, DJ Ross One from Rap Tees.
Oh, yeah.
He did a great collab T-shirt with you. That
Russ One loved that Tribe Called Quest moment.
Yeah.
man.
And he wanted to actually be a part of this interview.
Oh,
and
really?
Sit with you, yeah. But
He's
couldn't
got an
make it.
amazing. We were both in the what you call them collection. What was the thing we did together? He had the boom boxes.
Yeah.
And I had the Wu-Tang jacket that I
Okay.
I auctioned the auction, and you know, like, after, it's weird when you sell something, you auction it off, you kind of like, this, should I have done that? Because, you know, like, they told me like about how much they think they're going to get,
Yeah.
but then other people were like, I would have paid a lot more for that. I was like, so maybe we should have held on to that, but it was all good because it was, you know, it was literally sitting in my closet doing nothing, and my wife was like, "Wow." I says, right, so don't throw no stuff out. Just wanting to throw stuff out. Put it in, you be taking it to, you know, Salvation Army, bro.
Got to archive, man. You got to archive it all, man. For real.
Uncle Ralph, thank you so much.
you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Peace,
No
brother.
doubt.
Ralph
Video Music
McDaniels, Video Music Box. Thank you.
Yeah. We got to play the theme song right here.
Afterwards. If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.